subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Shiraishi 9 Tails Jinchuriki before. Now the appearance of Plow has tilted Sarutobi Hiruzen's scale. However, Shiraishi's unknown still makes Sarutobi Hiruzen have some scruples. Are you trying to make this kid a 9 Tails Jinchuriki? Sarutobi, I disagree with this candidate. In case of accidents, no one in Konoha can suppress 9 Tails. Uzumaki Mido turned to look at Shiraishi in a daze and refused without hesitation. Despite her malevolent perception, no malice is felt in Shiraishi. Shiraishi's body can also withstand 9 Tails chakra, but that's not the best candidate for 9 Tails Jinchuriki. As Uzumaki Mido of 9 Tails Jinchuriki, he knows how powerful 9 Tails is. Only the bloodline and sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan can suppress 9 Tails better. Shiraishi listened to the conversation of several people, and after being confused, his mind was floating. 9 Tails Jinchuriki. This is Prince Naruto's local hack. Although Shiraishi has the curse mark now, who would despise his whole cards? In the final analysis, the curse seal only serves as an increase. Shiraishi, who only has the strength of Genin, can reach the level of Genin. But 9 Tails is different. Invincible under the super shadow after the seed burst. This opening and hanging is simply one day in one place. What's more, the power of 9 Tails and the seal of curse does not conflict. That is the effect of 1 plus 1 greater than 3. But there are also disadvantages. The deadliest thing is that after 9 Tails is pulled out of the body, the main body will die. Then came the erosion of 9 Tails. The corruption of 9 Tails is the spiritual corruption of evil thoughts at its most terrifying. In this regard, Shiraishi has immunity to psychic attacks. Don't worry about anything. You can also use the plot to fool 9 Tails and complete 9 Tails chakra mode ahead of time. The only threat then is the risk of 9 Tails pulling away. There are 3 ways to do this. One is to divide 9 Tails as in the original plot and share the risks. The other is the same as Orochimaru, leaving the curse mark of resurrection. The last thing is that the strength or influence is strong enough to break everyone's coveted. So here comes the problem. Uchiha Madara or Tsutsuki from 9 Tails are enemies of Shiraishi. Finally, get 9 Tails to push the turtle to Plow. So to sum up, the 9 Tails Jinchuriki does more good than harm. Done. Shiraishi, who is sure of his thoughts, looked up at 3rd generation and Mido. 3rd generation, Senior Mito. Let me say a few words about this. We can split 9 Tails like 4th generation. Both Kushina and I became 9 Tails Jinchuriki. This not only shared the risk, but also allowed Konoha to have 2 super combat powers. Shiraishi's words immediately stirred up waves. Splitting 9 Tails? Can 9 Tails be divided into 2? 2nd generation looked at Uzumaki Mido in confusion. 9 Tails have yin and yang attributes. Logically, it can indeed be divided into yin and yang. Make 2 9 Tails Jinchuriki. What a bold idea. What's the matter with the 4th generation you speak of, boy? When did Konoha have 4th Hokage? Uzumaki Mido questioned Shiraishi after responding to 2nd generation. That's not the point. Mido-sama, do you have a way to divide 9 Tails? Sarutobi Hiruzen interrupted Mido's question and continued. If so, he doesn't have to worry about it. 027 Sarutobi Hiruzen knows that the way the 4th generation divides 9 Tails is to seal off the ghouls. But he still wanted to ask if there was any other way. That price is too heavy for a woman who has dedicated her whole life to Konoha. The power that can divide the yin and yang attributes of 9 Tails can only be sealed by ghouls. There is nothing else to do. Uzumaki Mido looked at the 2 and said with a heavy tone, the ghouls sealed the sealing technique, and both the 2nd generation and the 3rd generation knew the consequences. Uzumaki Mido didn't say much. Sister-in-law, if you want, I have a way to try it. I once developed the soul imprisonment technique. It should be guaranteed that Shinigami won't take your soul away. but I haven't tried this method yet, so I don't know if it will fool Shinigami. Vortex Mito said respectfully on second generation. Soul imprisonment. Uzumaki Mito's eyes flickered upon hearing this. In fact, she also knows the way to make excuses to seal up the ghouls. It's just that one life will be exchanged for another life, and it has no effect. If so, Senior Mito, if the second generation method is useless, my master has a way to pull your soul out of the Shinigami belly. Pit Shinigami, he is professional. Shiraishi mourned for Shinigami for half a second when he heard second generation's approach and said, Shinigami can meet these two crouching dragons and phoenix chicks. Why worry about not going bankrupt and running away? Orochimaru's mouth twitched a few times when he heard Shiraishi's traitor's words. Pit Shinigami is professional? How can he not know? Middle-aged Orochimaru's two are still in Shinigami's belly. Shiraishi never said before. Orochimaru exchanged one set of skins for 4 souls, plus 1 set of hands for the show operation. Orochimaru has this ability. Uzumaki Mito's face changed, and he looked at Orochimaru in surprise. Ahem, yes, Master Mito. Orochimaru glared at Shiraishi calmly and bit the bullet. Shiraishi dared to say this. There must be some way. Since this is the case, then it's decided. Sarutobi, let's start in 3 days. Uzumaki Mito took a deep breath, looked at the crowd, and said solemnly. Chapter 52, First Meeting Kushina, 4th generation. I didn't mean to grandmother. Do you want to wait any longer? Your body should last a while. I don't want you to leave. After seeing Mito's decision, Tsunade's eyes were red, and he threw himself into Mito's arms and cried. Shao Gang, Grandma knows about her body. Separating 9 tails couldn't have waited until the last minute. Kushina's strength is too weak. Grandma must leave a perfect seal. I originally planned to talk to Sarutobi about this in a few days. Now that this child joins in, Kushina can also have a companion. Uzumaki Mito comforted Tsunade by stroking Tsunade's back kindly, then looked at Shiraishi. What's your name? Senior Mito. I am Shiraishi Yamashiro. Shiraishi immediately stepped forward and said respectfully, for this woman who dared to use her life to continue the seal of 9 tails, Shiraishi still respects her. You'll be staying with me for 3 days. I have a final teaching for you and Kushina. That 9 tails guy also needs to meet a new partner. Uzumaki Mito's gentle tone made Shiraishi feel a little ashamed. But as Mito said, it was almost time for her to transfer 9 tails anyway. Made Shiraishi feel so much better. Grandmother, Tsunade's delicate body trembled when she heard the words, and 2 lines of tears rolled across her face. Tsunade, don't be sad. After I feed this turtle, I will take you back in time to find Senior Mito. At that time, not only Senior Mito, but you can also meet other relatives. Tsunade's pitiful attitude made Shiraishi feel distressed for a while, and he comforted him. Go back to the past to find your loved ones. Heartbroken, Tsunade turned sharply and looked at Shiraishi with surprise and bewilderment on his pretty face. The saddest thing about the life and death of a loved one is that you can no longer see familiar faces or listen to familiar voices. The kind of grief that heaven and man are separated forever is an emotion that ordinary people can't forget. But after Shiraishi said this, the heart-piercing sadness disappeared immediately. Such a psychological gap makes Tsunade feel a little confused. The boundary between life and death seems to be broken in an instant. Shiraishi, then you can follow Mito-sama now. The tortoise will wait until this matter is over. Sarutobi Hiruzen took the opportunity to order Shiraishi. Night Aim, why don't you come to my house and sit down? Do you want to have a look at the information about the spell seal and future scientific research information? Orochimaru heaved a sigh of relief and turned to invite second generation. Orochimaru didn't stop Shiraishi from wanting to become 9 Tails Jinchuriki. It is just a good time to hand over some preliminary work to second generation, so I can feel at ease when I go out after a while. Cursed seals and future scientific research materials? The old man is very interested. Second generation, who is also a research madman, had a look of joy in his eyes and nodded in agreement. There's already a way to travel through time, so he must prepare a gift for his brothers. Second generation has seen the power of the cursed seal just now. If Weijian had that kind of power back then, at least he could escape back. Sarutobi-sensei, I'll leave the root matter to you. I still need a group of scientific research talents. Orochimaru turned his head and gave Sarutobi Hiruzen an order, then turned and left with the transformed second generation. Grandma, let's go home too. Kamsanade helped Mito and left Hokage's office. Shiraishi immediately followed up. Going to Tsunade's house for 3 days, it's so much fun. In an instant, only Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya were left in the Hokage office, which was still busy just now. Well, it's okay, I'll go back. I didn't sleep well last night, and I have to go back to catch up on sleep. Jiraiya yawned, eyes dim. Coffee day, son. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Jiraiya with a serious face and said, "What's wrong?" Jiraiya looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen blankly, with question marks all over his head. Before Shiraishi proposed to establish Konoha elite squad. According to future intelligence, I plan to approve some students to graduate early. Jiraiya, you have a gift for teaching, so I want you to lead a squad for elite training too. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Jiraiya more seriously than ever before. Lead the team? No, I don't have time to practice Sage Mode. How can I have time to take those little kids? Jiraiya refused when she heard the head shaking like a rattle. Don't worry, the ones I arranged for you are all geniuses. Can't waste much of your time. Don't you want to surpass Orochimaru in this regard? Or the talent of 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato doesn't even matter to you now. The so-called knowing son is like a father, and the same is true for teachers. Sarutobi Hiruzen had already figured out Jiraiya's nature and said with a smile, "Namikaze Minato?" Jiraiya's eyes flashed, and he shouted excitedly, "Yes, that's him. It's a pity to stay in Konoha school with his talent. Although he is only 8 years old now, his strength should be at the level of Genin. I give you the 10-year-old Hyuga Hizashi again." Having white eyes is enough to keep Jiraiya's team safe. Sarutobi Hiruzen secretly took the bait and said to Jiraiya with a smile, "Well, Namikaze Minato was originally my disciple. It's not impossible to say that." Thinking of Namikaze Minato's terrifying talent, Jiraiya only hesitated for a moment before agreeing. "What? Is there still one person missing?" Jiraiya reacted belatedly and asked, "What? You don't want Rinnegan Nagato, the child of your destiny? Now that Orochimaru has learned Impure World Reincarnation, I will send you to range Shinobi Village when the time is right. Return to Konoha with Nagato to test Uchihamadara's reaction." Sarutobi Hiruzen thought of the plan that Shiraishi had said, and said with a straight face, "Nagato, an important chess piece, can be won or must be won." Jiraiya's pupils shrank, thinking of what Shiraishi said about Nagato. "I see." Jiraiya was rarely serious, and said seriously, "Now you take my order to go to the ninja school to form a special 2-person team. I will not arrange for you to perform dangerous tasks for the time being. Jiraiya, hope you bring out Namikaze Minato soon. When his foundation is ready, I will ask Nidame to teach him the Flying Thunder God technique himself. In the name of Yellow Flash, I'm looking forward to." Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly wrote a transfer order and handed it to Jiraiya. Jiraiya took the order and walked quickly towards the ninja school. Shiraishi, who was a guest at Senju's house, never dreamed that he would let 4th-generation graduate early with a casual remark. The marriage with Kushina dissipated directly in the cradle. Senju land, Kushina, he's going to be the mountain city of 100 stones of 9 tails Jinchuriki with you. I am 12 years old this year, and I am already Konoha Genin. From now on, you will be partners who understand each other. Uzumaki Mito introduced Shiraishi while holding Kushina's little finger. Kushina looked at Shiraishi timidly with a red face. Her big black eyes were full of anticipation, apprehension, and approval. Ever since Kushina entered Konoha, she has been indoctrinated to be the 9 tails Jinchuriki. In the heart of little Kushina, 9 tails has become the beginning of her lonely destiny. But now, a person suddenly appeared to share the loneliness and misfortune with her. This made Kushina agree with Shiraishi's existence almost instantly. Especially Shiraishi's calm demeanor reassured the restless Kushina. Shiraishi, big brother, I am Uzumaki Kushina. Please give me your advice. Kushina bit her lip and smiled sweetly at Shiraishi, not looking like a little pepper at all. Shiraishi is a bit surprised by Kushina like this. As far back as I can remember, Kushina's temper was very hot. I'm Shiraishi Amashiro. Since you call me brother, then big brother will protect you from now on. I won't let Nine Tails bully you. Shiraishi looked at the cute girl's Kushina and said in a very angry way. Anyway, after he tamed half of the Nine Tails in his body, it was just a matter of punching him. It was just a matter of lifting a finger. What's more, the other party is still a beautiful girl. Kushina's pupils shrank suddenly. The eye circles turned red instantly, and her nose was sour. She has never felt this kind of caring feeling since she knew the fate she was carrying. Even Mito didn't give Kushina that feeling, because after Mito, she carried Nine Tails alone. Could it be that this is what my mother-in-law said about filling the void in my heart? Shiraishi, big brother, is an existence that understands each other with me. Kushina, who was touched in his heart, thought so. At this time, Kushina has not touched Namikaze's Minato. Seeing Kushina's appearance, Uzumaki Mito looked at Shiraishi with relief. Perhaps it would be good to seal the Nine Tails Jinchuriki like this in the future. Shiraishi, Kushina. The power of Nine Tails is terrifying, but it is not evil incarnate. Instead, it has a mind of its own. You need to understand and support each other in the future. That's it for today. You go out to communicate and get to know each other. Starting tomorrow, I will explain to you the key to suppressing Nine Tails. Uzumaki Mito looked at the two kindly and said with relief. Shiraishi and Kushina looked at each other and walked out of Mito's room together. After Tsunade came back, he went to practice ninja in the future, not here, East Malaysia. Shiraishi, big brother, aren't you afraid of Nine Tails? Zenki asked Shiraishi after walking a certain distance, and finally couldn't help asking, afraid? What's so scary about Nine Tails? That Sundara Fox is a nice fellow. You'll find out later that Nine Tails is still very easy to get along with. I promise. Shiraishi sat casually on the grass next to him and said lightly, that is Kurama, who is willing to sacrifice for Naruto. If they get along well, Shiraishi can still keep Nine Tails. Use only part of the Nine Tails chakra to become 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Sundara Fox? Kushina tilted her head and opened her small mouth in surprise, not understanding what it meant. Well, you don't have to worry about this. I said I'll help you tame Nine Tails in the future. Make it a companion to protect you. Shiraishi said lazily, looking at the white clouds in the sky. Although Kushina looked skeptical when he heard this, the fear in his heart did dissipate a lot. Looking at Shiraishi's sunny and confident side face, Kushina didn't know what to think of. A blush suddenly appeared on her face. Little Pepper? How did you sue with Shiraishi? Shiraishi, did you come to me for a mission? I knew Sensei Orochimaru would never forget me. While the two were admiring the blue sky and white clouds, Nawaki's voice suddenly rang in their ears. Little Pepper, Shiraishi shouted hesitantly, subconsciously looking at Chun. Chapter 53, Snatch the Pepper, The Promise with Tsunade, Thousands Hands, Ropes, Trees. What did you call me? I saw Kushina, who was quiet and gentle before, with red eyes and red hair, she said coquettishly. In an instant, Shiraishi was enlightened. Such Kushina is the Kushina in his memory. I didn't expect this little girl to be quite good at pretending. DB, that I have something to do with Shiraishi. Nawaki shuddered subconsciously, pointed at Shiraishi, and shouted. Kushina, a little chilly. He can't afford to mess with. Shiraishi, big brother. I usually don't know like this. Kushina suddenly reacted. A head of furious red hair fell on her shoulders in an instant, watching Shiraishi stumbling nervously. The embarrassing little face, the big red eyes almost cried out. She didn't want to make Shiraishi angry. This is the first peer who has cared about Kushina since she entered Konoha. It is also a partner who will rely on each other in the future. Back. Why are you about to cry? A little pepper is just a little pepper. There is nothing to hide. Kushina. As a partner, you should tolerate everything about her. True affection is not a false pretense. Besides, I prefer Kushina like that. Shiraishi bluntly wiped the teardrops that were about to burst from the corners of Kushina's eyes and comforted him with a smile. Kushina should have such a fiery personality. Kushina, who pretends to be gentle like that, makes Shiraishi very awkward. Women should have their own personality charm. The same gentleness is boring. Feeling Shiraishi's warmth and heartwarming words, Kushina's anxious face turned red instantly. Shiraishi, big brother. I have something to do. I will go back first. Kushina, who was bumping around like a deer, quickly lowered her head, stumbling and running in a hurry. Shiraishi looked at the staggering petite back. A smile could not help but appear on the corner of his mouth. Fourth generation. Seems to have stolen your pepper. Sorry, Nawaki. I'm not looking for you. Mr. Orochimaru hasn't arranged 780 tasks recently. Shiraishi then turned his head to look at Nawaki with a twinkle in his eyes. What the hell? Still no missions? Then what are you doing at my house? Looking for pepper? Could it be? Nawaki complained unhappily, staring at Shiraishi suspiciously. Thinking of what happened just now, Nawaki suddenly looked at Shiraishi with an expression that I understood. Hey, Shiraishi, you have two skills. That little pepper is not easy to mess with. You don't know her. Nawaki put his hand on Shiraishi's shoulder, lowered his voice, and began to tease plus complain. It was a snot and a tear. What do you add mustard to your meals? Itch powder in your clothes, set traps when you go out, throw detonators in the toilet. Shiraishi was taken aback by those prank tricks. Daring, Naruto's mischievous personality is inherited from his mother. Stop. I don't want to hear your complaining session. Which room is your sister in? I have something to look for her. Shiraishi didn't have time to listen to Nawaki's nonsense, so he hurriedly interrupted. Looking for my sister? She just finished practicing and is taking a bath. Why are you looking for her? Don't you already have chili peppers? Shiraishi, do you want to spy on my sister? Nawaki stared at Shiraishi suspiciously and blurted out. Peeping? What do you think is that kind of person? Go, take me to find your sister. As long as you take me there, I will teach you an A-level Muji Jutsu. Shiraishi pretended to be calm when he heard the flash of emotion in his eyes. Class A Muji? You liar, how could you know that kind of ninjutsu? Besides, my sister is so fierce. I'd be miserable if found out. You guys are really a pervert, just like Brother Jiraiya, CBDF. I really don't understand how you can like such a fierce woman. Nawaki dismissed the words and said with contempt on his face. Quack quack. Nawaki, you don't understand. I like tough women. In this way, I will show you this ninjutsu first, and then you can decide. Shiraishi smiled meaningfully, and the curse mark on his neck spread all over his body again. The cultivation of Rasengan Shiraishi has only reached the third stage now. If you want to use it, you can only borrow the power of the curse seal. What is this? Very cool. Before the Rasengan was used, Nawaki stared at Shiraishi's curse pattern and said, dumbfounded. This is the mantra seal developed by Orochimaru teacher. If you like it, I will ask him to give you a copy after the improvement. Shiraishi responded casually, concentrating on condensing the Rasengan in his hand. Chakra materialized. Nawaki stared blankly at the blue chakra in Shiraishi's hand, inexplicably horrified. With Nawaki and Shiraishi nervous, a precocious Rasengan formed in Shiraishi's hands. Compared to the normal Rasengan with big fists, Shiraishi is only about the size of a ping-pong ball. Drink! Shiraishi's footsteps moved, and he came to the big tree next to him and patted it with his palm. In an instant, Rasengan's strangulation shattered the tree trunk. A football-sized hole appeared above the trunk. Okay, that's amazing. Nawaki looked at the tree hole that was punched out and shouted with his mouth wide open. Nawaki is no ordinary civilian ninja without knowledge. He is very aware of the power of this technique and it is very suitable for him who is practicing while liquid. What you said, don't go back on your word. Let's go. Nawaki let go of his insistence without hesitation, pulled Shiraishi, and walked towards Tsunade's bathing place. Of course, Nawaki is not really selling her sister for glory. He is only responsible for leading the way, and it is up to Shiraishi to spy on him. Thinking of Sister Tsunade's iron fist, Nawaki suddenly looked forward to it. It would be cool if Shiraishi would teach himself ninjutsu after being beaten up. Shiraishi didn't know what Nawaki's plan was, so he got ready to meet Tsunade as soon as he got rid of the curse mark. Of course, Shiraishi wouldn't do such a shabby thing like peeping. It's a small loss, that's... He really wanted Tsunade. Soon, Nawaki brought Shiraishi to a building that looked like a hot spring. This made Shiraishi secretly slander. Senju's family is indeed a big business, and there is a hot spring in the house. My sister is inside, so you can peep by your ability. I won't go in. Remember the ninjutsu that promised me. Nawaki stood outside the house and pointed to a room. Tion coughed softly. Crunch. Just when Shiraishi was about to reject Nawaki's stupidity, the sliding door in front of him suddenly opened. Miss Tsunade, who was wrapped in a bathrobe, appeared in front of the two of them. Although nothing was revealed, but the temptation of the lotus that came out of the water made Shiraishi's eyes straight instantly. Nawaki? Shiraishi? Tsunade looked at the two people outside the door and said in surprise. But suddenly thought of something. Tsunade's face turned cold instantly. I'm going first. Seeing that the situation was not good, Nawaki slid away and ran away. Tsunade's beautiful eyes narrowed, and the slippers under her feet were swiftly kicked away like a hidden weapon. The slipper hit Nawaki's left leg instantly like a meteor, causing Nawaki to stagger and fall to the ground. Sister, I was wrong. It's all Shiraishi. He used a Muji technique to tempt me to lead the way and spy on you. I dare not again. Nawaki faced Tsunade. The mouse saw the cat and sold Shiraishi immediately. Tell me out with just one ninjutsu? Nawaki, you are really my good brother. Tsunade glared at the words, staring at Nawaki, gritted his silver teeth, and said, Shiraishi, you better give me a perfect explanation. Tsunade turned his head to look at Shiraishi. His beautiful eyes radiated a cold light, and his pretty face was frosty. Well, do you believe me when I say it's a misunderstanding? Sneak peek at this Nawaki from start to finish. I just wanted to talk to you about something. Shiraishi stared at Nawaki speechlessly and smiled sarcastically. Nawaki, is that so? Tsunade glanced at the past coldly and questioned. Nawaki was stunned instantly. But thinking about it carefully, it seems that Shiraishi never said this from the beginning to the end. In an instant, Nawaki drooped his head, showing a bitter melon look. Silence is golden. How could Tsunade not know the truth of the matter? Brother, don't stay for long. Shiraishi, what do you want from me? Tsunade, who was in a bad mood, was not in the mood to make a detour. Nawaki sees Tsunade look away, and the guilty Sayazi slips away again. I didn't care about this outline. I was able to run with. Pack Nawaki anytime. I want to make a deal with you. You taught me 100 healings mark and ninja art. Mitotic regeneration Baihao technique. I give you a pair of Manjiki Sharingan. Shiraishi took a few steps to pick up Tsunade's slippers, came to Tsunade's side, and bent down to put them on that white jade foot. Standing up and looking at Tsunade's pretty face, she said confidently, naturally, Shiraishi does not want to miss this forbidden technique that can adjust the age status of the human body at will. He is only in a 12-year-old physical condition now, and he can't do many things well. This fast growth forbidden technique, Shiraishi is bound to win. It doesn't help him to pursue Tsunade either by dragging a boyish appearance. This is also the forbidden technique promised to Su Li's 3 daughters. As for the Manjiki Sharingan, it's much simpler. It is not easy to have a little turtle here. But I haven't practiced successfully yet. Let's talk about it later. Tsunade blushed, hesitated for a second before agreeing. Knowing the secrets of Senju and Uchiha, Tsunade is indeed interested in the Manjiki Sharingan court. As it happens, I'm not ready for the Manjiki Sharingan either. Then we're set. Don't go back on your word. Shiraishi was not surprised either, and agreed with a smile. He didn't find Tsunade purely to learn forbidden technique. Take this to open up the communication time between the two, and to cultivate the relationship is the key point. Otherwise, wouldn't it be faster to go directly to the middle-aged Tsunade? Tsunade was a little embarrassed by Shiraishi's wearing shoes just now, turned around and left with a soft snort. In the blink of an eye, because of the flash, during these 3 days, Uzumaki Mito said a lot of cautions to Shiraishi and Kushina. As for the sealing technique, there is no mention of half a point. Kushina is still a bit basic. Shiraishi is clueless. What can I learn in 3 days? Those things are learned later. On this day, under the arrangement of Sarutobi Hiruzen, Uzumaki Mito took Shiraishi and Kushina to the enchantment that had been arranged. Second generation, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade were present at the same time. There are also Umbu and the sealing team stationed outside the barrier, just in case. Shiraishi, Kushina, are you ready? It's time to start. Uzumaki Mito calmly looked at the two of them and reminded her in a gentle voice after second generation performed the soul confinement technique on her. Chapter 54, the ghouls are sealed off, and Nine Tails is cheating. Let's do it, Senior Mito. Shiraishi nodded deeply and said solemnly. To be honest, Shiraishi was a little nervous even though he was prepared. Kushina cried out with tears in her eyes. Kushina is not afraid. Remember what I said. You must understand and support each other in the future. Uzumaki Mito comforted with a gentle attitude, and his hands began to seal. Since we want to split Nine Tails, we must summon Shinigami first. See Highway Mao Wu Zi. Yu Wu Si. Forbidden technique ghouls are sealed. Uzumaki Mito slowly completed the knot seal like Shirsue's heart, clasped his hands together, and drank softly. That calm and composed posture does not look like he is about to die at all. With personal experience, Shiraishi has a new understanding of the ninja bond at this moment. The so-called Will of Fire is probably the same. With Uzumaki Mito's sealing technique opened, behind Shiraishi's invisible, a white phantom appeared out of thin air, and a Shinigami with purple face and fangs and 2 horns appeared on the stage. The huge Shinigami phantom holds a short sword in its mouth, holds a rosary in its hand, and is accompanied by will-o'-the-wisps all over its body. That's Shinigami. Second generation looked at Uzumaki Mito's pupil shrank and shouted in amazement. As a living dead with a dirty body, he can naturally see the existence of Shinigami. Uzumaki Mito, who had already summoned Shinigami, directly opened the seal of the body without hesitation. The complete Nine Tails separated from her body in an instant, appearing in front of everyone. The huge Nine Tails landed on all fours, and the calm ground shook instantly. The huge body with a height of about 100 meters and the Nine Tails behind it make the body of Nine Tails even more majestic and majestic. This is not the height of one snake body length, but the real body height. If 10,000 snakes lay on the ground, they would reach the sky within 40 meters. While Shiraishi was terrified, dozens of golden chakra chains shot out from Uzumaki Mito's body in an instant. Almost instantly, the majestic Nine Tails were tied into rice dumplings and could not move. The Nine Tails were also tied to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. This is the adamantine sealing chains of the Uzumaki clan. Mito, you're going to seal me again. Is it one of these 2 little ghosts? Hateful humans. The suppressed Nine Tails stared fiercely at Shiraishi and Kushina and growled. The wind pressure from the mouth almost blows Kushina away like a hurricane. Fortunately, Shiraishi grabbed the ground with chakra and reached out to hug Kushina. Okay, so scary. Shiraishi, big brother. Nine Tails is scarier than anything we've seen before. Kushina grabbed Shiraishi's clothes and shouted timidly. Yesterday, Uzumaki Mito went to meet Nine Tails with the consciousness of both of them. But Nine Tails was in the sealed space at that time, and there was no surrounding environment for comparison. It will not show the terrifying body shape of Nine Tails. Don't be afraid, brother is here. Shiraishi comforted Kushina by patting Kushina's back lightly, looking at Nine Tails. Nine Tails, have you forgotten what happened yesterday? Not one of us this time. Instead, the two of us are going to be your Jinchuriki. Kurama, I will take care of you in the future. Shiraishi ignored Nine Tails' ferocious flames and said calmly, there are Mito, second generation, third generation, Orochimaru, and Shiraishi is a stable batch. How do you know the old man's name? Kid, who the hell are you? Shocked by the name, Nine Tails completely ignored the two Nine Tails Jinchuriki that Shiraishi said and stared at Shiraishi with truck-like scarlet vertical pupils and questioned. Uzumaki Mito saw Shiraishi take the initiative to protect Kushina with a flash of relief in his eyes. His face suddenly became serious. The Gulfeng Jin didn't have much time for her to delay. Nine Tails, living together for so many years. This is the first time I know your name. Sorry, Lama, but in the future, I believe you will become partners with him. Uzumaki Mito glanced at Shiraishi unexpectedly and sighed to Nine Tails with some emotion. The Shinigami phantom behind her starts to move. Not knowing why, Nine Tails turned to look at Mito and was about to ask a question. All of a sudden, the downturned hairs and the palpitation of death appeared in its heart. At the same time, Shinigami's giant hand covered in black spells reached into Nine Tails' body. In an instant, Nine Tails' huge animal pupils froze and saw the Shinigami behind Mito. Even though it was the first time I saw it, Nine Tails already had a premonition of what was to come. Sure enough, the Phantom of Shinigami pulled out Nine Tails in a tribute half-body amidst Nine Tails' roar of anger and fear. With the power of Shinigami, Nine Tails can only be powerless to resist. He watched helplessly as the half-body of the Yin attribute was stuffed into Kushina's body. Sealing technique, 4 symbols seal. Uzumaki Mito, who had been prepared for a long time, immediately cast a sealing technique on Kushina. The 4-elephant seal is an S-level seal, and it is also the seal of Mito's Nine-Tails seal. Naruto's 8-sign seal is a 4-sign seal with 2 layers superimposed, and the effect is basically the same. The only difference is more security. No key can open the 8-sign seal. Hateful. Mito, you actually split the old man's half-body. Young Nine Tails looked at the fainted Kushina and yelled at Mito. But since Uzumaki Mito has already started to act, he naturally doesn't hold back. The Locktail seal. Uzumaki Mito yelled again. Nine Tails, the CK of adamantine sealing chains, was dragged by the chains and pulled into Shiraishi. Okay, it hurts. Feeling the pain of young Nine Tails entering his body, Shiraishi gritted his teeth and panted profusely with sweat. No wonder Kushina passed out just now. Hateful. Young Nine Tails struggled and roared, but it was useless under the sealing technique of the Uzumaki family. In just a few seconds, Nine Tails was dragged into Shiraishi's body. Sealing technique, 4 symbols seal. Uzumaki Mito broke out with his last strength and came to Shiraishi and cast a seal. Shiraishi's eyes popped, and he passed out gloriously. Uzumaki Mito took a few steps back and fell to the ground exhausted, waiting for Shinigami to leave. At this point, the transfer of Nine Tails is complete. Double Nine Tails Jinchuriki is born. 3B. Tsunade cried and yelled and was about to go up to help Grandma Mito. Here comes the important point. Second generation hurriedly reached out and grabbed Tsunade, staring at Shinigami Phantom with fixed eyes. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru can't see Shinigami, fear is dignified. Under the nervous gaze of second generation, Shinigami's hand was slowly withdrawn from Uzumaki Mito's body, and Uzumaki Mito's soul was faintly pulled out of his body. But the soul imprisonment technique still worked. Shinigami's hand tugged a few times, but couldn't pull out Uzumaki Mito's soul. Seeing that Uzumaki Mito took more air in and out less, second generation breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Uzumaki Mito is dead, Shinigami will fade away. But at this moment, Shinigami's movements changed. I saw that Shinigami pulled out the short sword from his mouth and was about to cut off part of the soul that was pulled out. Not good. Seeing this, second generation made a decisive decision and came to Uzumaki Mito one step faster. The kunai hand in his hand swung the knife across Uzumaki Mito's neck in an instant. Second generation then looked up. I saw that the moment Shinigami's short sword touched Uzumaki Mito's soul, the phantom also dissipated. Asking for flowers. Uzumaki Mito's soul loses its drag and returns to cause again. Just now Shinigami wanted to cut off the soul of my sister-in-law. Fortunately, the old man killed his sister-in-law in time to let Shinigami retreat. Surprise. It's all right now. Second generation let out a long sigh of relief and explained to the confused crowd. Orochimaru knew about Shinigami's trickery and nodded in understanding. As ugly as it sounds, this is the quickest way to help Uzumaki Mito. Others also suddenly realized, sister-in-law, I'm sorry. Soul imprisonment solution. Second generation shouted respectfully to the soul of Uzumaki Mito, unlocking the soul imprisonment technique. If it is not untied, Uzumaki Mito's soul may be bound to the corpse for a long time and cannot return to the Pure Land. Under the gaze of the second generation, Uzumaki Mito's soul emerges from his body. Smiling lightly at him, it turned into white light and disappeared. Orochimaru, Tsunade, Shiraishi, and Kushina are temporarily handed over to you. I'll arrange the memorial service for Mito-sama. Tobirama-sensei, do you have any plans? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked around and said to everyone with a sigh, I'll go to Orochimaru, boy. I still have a lot of information that I haven't researched to understand. Second generation chose to go to Orochimaru without hesitation. That cursed seal, cloning technology, genetic modification technology, cell transplantation technology, all let second generation indulge in it and cannot extricate themselves. That's it. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded in agreement and shouted to the crowd. Tsunade looked at Grandma Mito's body reluctantly, hugged Kushina, and turned to leave as Shiraishi said, Tsunade didn't feel much grief. Anyway, in the future, I can travel through time to see Grandma and other relatives. Orochimaru took the fainted Shiraishi and was taken away by second generation with Flying Thunder God. Sealed space, Shiraishi's consciousness appeared in front of Nine Tails. Compare with the iron cage space like 8-sign seal. The place in front of Shiraishi is just a place similar to an open space. Nine Tails was nailed to the ground by huge wooden wedges and was in a mess. Damn Mito. Actually divided the old man, little devil. Come here for the old man. The old man wants to eat you. Nine Tails looked at Shiraishi with his head on the ground. His scarlet animal pupils exuded tyranny and madness, and roared loudly. Kurama, don't be so angry. In fact, Senior Mito didn't harm you by dividing your strength. This is protecting you. Sitting cross-legged in front of Nine Tails, they began to communicate. Protect the old man? The old man needs her to protect? Brat, how do you know the old man's name? Nine Tails grinned in disdain and said coldly, asking out the doubts in his heart. Kurama's name is known to no one other than the nine-tailed beasts and the Sage of Six Paths. Nine Tails doesn't believe that other tailed beasts will tell humans its name. One tail, Shoha. Two tails, Matatabi. 3 tails, Rocky Fu. 4 tails, Monkey King. 5 tails, Koku. 6 tails, Saiken. 7 tails, Kame. 8 tails, Jaiki. 9 tails, Kurama. I know all the names of your 9-tailed beasts. I also know that you are individuals born from the power of the 10 tails, divided by the Sage of Six Paths. Well, in Llama, do you want to know the true future of your tail beasts? The existence and origin of 10 tails. This is a secret that not even Sage of Six Paths, Tsutsuki Yui knows. Shiraishi looked at Nine Tails, whose eyes were getting bigger and bigger, and talked with eloquence. Chapter 55, Shiraishi. Nine Tails, you have to work hard to become a fairy fox. The huge scarlet eyes of Nine Tails are constantly changing, and the fox face reveals a humanized, surprised expression. When Shiraishi called the Nine Tails by their names, Nine Tails thought it was a prophecy from the Sage of Six Paths. But when Shiraishi speaks the name of 10 Tails, Sage of Six Paths, Tsutsuki Yui, Nine Tails overturned the idea just now. After hearing the secret that even Sage of Six Paths didn't know, Nine Tails finally broke the defense. Who are you? 10 Tails secret? What is that? Nine Tails couldn't bear the curiosity and doubt in his heart and asked. My name is Yamashiro Shiraishi. You can call me Shiraishi. So what do you know about 10 Tails? Shiraishi heaved a sigh of relief secretly and asked instead. As long as you arouse the curiosity of Nine Tails, then this power bank is basically stable. 10 Tails. A flash of reminiscence and fear flashed in Nine Tails' eyes, and he fell into memory. That something as natural as soil, air, trees, water. It is nature itself without any feelings and emotions. 10 Tails are the incarnations of chakra without consciousness. That is the ancestor of chakra, the god of destruction in the ninja world. Nine Tails explained with wandering eyes based on the memories in his mind. What can be regarded as knowing a little superficial? Or let me tell you the truth about 10 Tails. 10 Tails, also known as 10 Tails Sacred Tree 280, is just a special sapling. In essence, it's the same as those ubiquitous pairings. Nature is a natural existence without a conscious body. Shiraishi recalled the 10 Tails Sacred Tree and went straight to the essence. Saplings? How is this possible? Nine Tails raised his head in a jerk, staring at Shiraishi in disbelief and questioning. How could 10 Tails be such a ridiculous existence? If so, aren't they tailed beasts branches of saplings? Don't be surprised. That's the way it is. The 10 Tails Sacred Tree is just a tool for the Tsutsuki family to plunder the stars. As a tool, naturally there should be no consciousness. Planting fruit trees just need to condense the fruit. Conscious presence of fruit trees is not required. The same is true for the 10 Tails Sacred Tree. However, ordinary fruit trees absorb water and other nutrients to grow, and the 10 Tails Sacred Tree absorbs the energy of the entire planet. The fruit that bears is different. The fruit of the 10 Tails Sacred Tree is the chakra fruit. This is what the Tsutsuki clan needs. Shiraishi explained the relationship between 10 Tails and Tsutsuki to Nine Tails in a simple and clear way. Nine Tails listened to the fairy tales like the Arabian Nights. The ferocious fox couldn't help opening his mouth wide, his eyes glazed over. But if you think about it carefully, the reason why Sage of Six Paths fought 10 Tails Kagaya at that time was not because 10 Tails devoured the energy of the earth, leading to great ecological changes. The entire ninja world is on the brink of destruction. Wrong. If the planet is destroyed, why do we need the chakra fruit? Nine Tails reacted suddenly, and the huge animal pupils exuded doubts and puzzled. Destroy it, destroy it. This piece of land has been absorbed, and it needs to be replaced. The Tsutsuki family is not a ninja family, but predators from outside the sky. Their purpose is to constantly plunder the energy of the planet, collect chakra fruit to make alchemy, trying to become a family of gods. When Shiraishi said this, a hint of longing flashed in his eyes. Who doesn't want the road to becoming a god that is just around the corner? Even if the Tsutsuki clan is awesome, can they hunt him down across dimensions when he returns to reality? It's so, but this was all 1,000 years ago. 10 Tails has also been split and sealed by Sage of Six Paths. These things are all history. The conspiracy of the Tsutsuki clan has been stopped. What you say now is just to help the old man understand the past. Doesn't make sense. It can't change the fact that the old man was sealed by your ninjas. It doesn't matter that Nine Tails returned to his previous state after a sudden realization. I say, did you forget something? I said splitting Nine Tails was for your own good. Don't you want to know why? Or do you not want to know about the future of retail beasts? Shiraishi looked at the rotten Nine Tails with black lines all over his head. He is the only one who can mess this thing up. Why are you Nine Tails? Reason? Then tell me. Nine Tails' huge fox eyes were startled, and he was bored. Kurama, you don't think that Sage of Six Paths will be all right after sealing Tao and Kagaya? Kagaya left behind and collected 9-tailed beasts in the dark to prepare for resurrection. That idiot is still your old acquaintance, Uchiha Madara. Isn't that guy dead? Ninetails couldn't help shouting when he heard the man controlling it to fight. Not dead. Not only was the guy alive, he turned on the Rinnegan. In other words, he can now summon the husks of 10 tails. 9 tails, 10 tails body is controlled by Rinnegan, so I don't need to say more. In the future, you 9-tailed beasts will be absorbed by the 10 tails shell. 10 tails will also be resurrected. Did you say that splitting you share the risk of being fully absorbed? Rinnegan? That guy Uchiha Madara turned on the Rinnegan. Also summoned the 10 tails husk. When Shiraishi said this, 9 tails couldn't help but exclaimed again. What happened before was just a long-standing legend, but now it is about the harm of personal interests. How could 9 tails be indifferent? The mighty power of Sage of Six Paths Rinnegan. 9 tails is no stranger. It is the blood succession net that controls the 7 chakra nature transformations of yin, yang, wind, fire, thunder, earth, and water. Possesses creation and destruction yin and yang escape techniques. Sage of Six Paths splits the 10 tails with the yin-yang escape technique and creates them 9-tailed beasts. But 9 tails doesn't know that is the ability of 10 tails Jinchuriki plus Rinnegan. Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan is far less powerful. Yes, it's Rinnegan, and Uchiha Madara isn't the only enemy you tailed beasts have. You 9-tailed beasts are all divisions of the power of the 10 tails, the chakra energy body. Must be hostile to the Tsutsuki clan. Kagaya used the sacred tree to make White Zetsu not for any ambition. It was to fend off the Tsutsuki clan who came to harvest the chakra fruit. Thousands of years have passed, and in the next few decades, there will be a steady stream of Tsutsuki clans coming to the ninja world to harvest chakra. That's a member of the horror family of Rinnegan per capita. Of course, none of you 9-tailed beasts survived. Even you, the strongest tailed beast, will have no life under their threat. Even if you cooperate with the reincarnation of Ashura at that time, it is still useless to draw the final heavy particle pattern. Kurama, are you still so indifferent? Shiraishi watched 9 tails bombarding wave after wave playfully. 9 tails heard that the huge animal pupils widened, and the panic in their eyes could no longer be concealed. Heavy particle mode. This is a secret that only it knows. Not even Sage of Six Paths knows this. 9 tails, you have to work hard. You haven't made much progress in 1,000 years. You're too decadent. In the future, you will learn to condense natural energy and provide Jinchuriki with magic chakra. Can't you just work hard and become 9 tails yourself? Develop a few fairy arts? Shiraishi looked at 9 tails and spurned with hatred. If 9 tails can learn fairy art by himself, then he will win another wave. Who are you? 9 tails stared at Shiraishi with numb scalp and asked again. Me? I'm just a guy who knows the future. If you don't believe these things, I can take you to the future to find the answer. Shiraishi laughed secretly in his heart and finally said to the general. In fact, fighting with 9 tails made 9 tails believe in Shiraishi even more. But Shiraishi didn't want 9 tails to know the secret of Shiraishi being a time traveler. In case 9 tails is pulled away from the body, isn't it exposing itself? Go to the future to find the answer. 9 tails looked at Shiraishi in shock again. The so-called hearing is believing. Seeing is believing. When you witness it with your own eyes, you will know whether I lied to you or not. Shiraishi nodded naturally and was about to make a condition to 9 tails. But at this moment, Shiraishi's consciousness was suddenly pulled out of the sealed space. Reinforce the seal? Yamashiro Shiraishi, why can't I perceive good and evil in you? Who are you? 9 tails felt the increasingly solid sealed space. His eyes showed confusion and uncertainty. Outside world, Orochimaru Mansion, Ninja Law 5 Elements Seal. Just as Shiraishi regained consciousness, he heard Orochimaru's low drink. Master, can't you wake me up later? I was just about to close a deal with 9 tails. Oh, forget it. Next time, Shiraishi complained in dissatisfaction, But seeing Orochimaru's concerned and unexpected eyes, he shifted his tone. Orochimaru heard the embarrassing batch of. He also thought that Shiraishi was awake for a long time because he was suppressed by Nine Tails. Shiraishi, I've already discussed with Night Aim. All the chakra that Turtle needs is a fusion chakra of your and Nine Tails powers. So you have to speed up your chakra practice. Then infuse the daily chakra into it to prepare the chakra needed for the next crossing. I have already greeted Sarutobi-sensei. During this time, it is up to you to train with Nawaki and Mikoto. 5.8 Me and Night Aim are going out for a trip. This is the scroll of Flying Thunder God technique. You can have a look first. Yes, it is like that. Orochimaru threw Shiraishi a scroll and arranged. Can. Shiraishi excitedly took the reel, and neither did Cade. It was agreed a long time ago that Orochimaru would go to Richie Cave to practice. I just didn't expect the second generation to follow. Orochimaru smiled helplessly at Shiraishi, who opened the Flying Thunder God scroll research and turned to look at second generation. Let's go. I really want to know what is the source of the curse seal and what you said. Second generation glanced at Shiraishi, looked at Orochimaru, and said indifferently, another purpose of his going out is to collect the bones and flesh of ninja powerhouses. Prepare for World War II and Uchimadara, just in case. Orochimaru nodded solemnly, and second generation slapped Orochimaru on the shoulder. The Flying Thunder God was launched, and the two disappeared again. Call. Is this ghost painting really an existence that people can understand? Forget it. I'll practice this when second generation comes back. It's getting a little too high now. Take advantage of this time to practice Rasengan and Taijutsu first. But before that, learn the Shadow Clone Cheat. After half a sound, Shiraishi took a long breath, put away the scroll, turned, and went out. Chapter 56 Cultivation. Take Kushina to find Nine Tails Konoha Training Ground Number 7 Mikoto Nawaki. Good morning. Shiraishi walked into the training ground with figure 8 steps slowly and said hello. Too slow, Shiraishi. I really don't understand what Orochimaru sensei thinks and wants us to train with you. Nawaki looked at the sky, pointed to Shiraishi angrily, and said angrily, well, surprise, surprise. Not tomorrow. Shiraishi said lazily, yawning. But he really didn't mean to be late. I learned multiple shadow clone techniques from Jiraiya last night and practiced until midnight without sleep or food. If you're late again tomorrow, I won't come. Nawaki pouted and said arrogantly. Shiraishi was speechless for a while. You're not a girl. Why are you being so arrogant? Casual. I will only teach Mikoto that A-level Muji Jutsu. Shiraishi turned his head to look at the gentle and pleasant Mikoto girl with bright eyes and bright teeth, and said indifferently, No, this is the ninjutsu you promised me. Brother Shiraishi, I was wrong. Only then did Nawaki think of Rasengan belatedly, and immediately made jokes with a cheeky face. Good morning, Shiraishi-kun. After Mikoto quietly watched the two of them fight, he stepped forward and shouted in a low voice. A hint of embarrassment flashed across that fair and pretty face from time to time. Mikoto didn't forget Shiraishi grabbed her little hand before, but Mikoto still had a flash of surprise in his eyes and looked at Shiraishi unexpectedly. A-level Muji Ninjutsu. This is a high-level ninjutsu that can become a family secret 21. Shiraishi actually wants to teach them, since Orochimaru-sensei entrusted you to me. Nature is arranged. Nawaki, Mikoto, in order to strengthen your strength. I will teach you Rasengan, a level Muji Jutsu. This is a non-attribute ninjutsu with great development potential. In a later stage, you can develop Rasengan with different attributes according to your own chakra attributes. The principle of Rasengan is actually very simple. It is to condense chakra in the palm of the hand, and then form a chakra ball to attack. Practicing Rasengan, I have summed up the 4 stages. Shiraishi didn't talk nonsense, and directly began to talk about the principles and practice tips of Rasengan. After Shiraishi's brief analysis from shallow to deep, Nawaki and Mikoto quickly understood Rasengan's cultivation tips. But understanding is understanding, and cultivation is another. You already know the trick. Now start to practice on your own. If you have any questions, ask again. Shiraishi watched the two start the first stage of practice, and then started his own practice after saying a word. He has half a bucket of water now, but he has no time to concentrate on guiding them. Multiple shadow clone technique. Shiraishi finished the seal with both hands leisurely and began to add the cheating device. With a bang, 5 shadow clone appeared beside Shiraishi. This is Shiraishi's ultimate state with his own chakra. After experimenting with Kakashi, the chakra unit in the original plot, Shiraishi estimated that he now has about 0.3 calories of chakra. There are about 3 cards of chakra after the burst of spells. Not too great, not too bad. Don't look at Kakashi's chakra, is very hip, but that's just for those who are more lazy. Shiraishi can have 0.3 cards of chakra in the normal state, and it is still an increase after crossing. Otherwise, there is no more chakra with 0.15 calories per day. No, Nine Tails is still open. After today is over, I will go to Tsunade to help me lift the 5-element seal. By the way, let's see how Kushina is doing. Shiraishi looked at the miserable 5 shadow clone and thought in his heart, and started to conquer Rasengan with all his heart. He has already entered the 3rd stage, and he is only 1 step away from success. Of course, this is also the hardest part. Otherwise, Naruto would not use shadow clone to make balls opportunistically. Shiraishi-kun, you are amazing. No, I can't be too far behind. Mikoto, who sneaked a peek at Shiraishi, saw Shiraishi's figure practicing hard, and cheered himself up like a mosquito. Concentrate your mind, seriously in the palm of your hand, chakra. But Mikoto's sneak peek was still seen by Nawaki, who was following her, which immediately inspired Nawaki's fighting spirit. In the cultivation of Rasengan, we must not lag behind. The figures of the 3 of them working hard suddenly intertwined and shone under the sun. A warm scene was quickly frozen. The time soon came to noon. Shiraishi, I'm so hungry. I forgot to bring my bento. Want to go home for dinner? Nawaki suddenly sat down on the ground with his belly in his arms and shouted. Convenient? The corner of Shiraishi's mouth twitched. He really didn't bring this. No one at home cooks for him. I brought one, but it might not be enough for the 3 of us. Mikoto looked at the 2 people in distress, took out a bento from the backpack next to him, and said in a low voice, Forget it, let's go back to eat. Nawaki looked at Mikoto's small bento, shook his head, and suggested to Shiraishi, No, the number 7 training ground is not far from the village. Going back to eat and then back to training is too much time wasted. Nawaki, Mikoto, let's have a picnic at noon. I remember there was a small river ahead, and Nawaki and I went to catch fish. Mikoto, just gather some firewood and light a fire on the bank to prepare the grilled fish. Shiraishi had a flash of inspiration, rejecting Nawaki's suggestion. Picnic, picnic. In an instant, Mikoto and Nawaki looked eager to try. Shiraishi saw that the 2 were moving, so he called them to the small river not far away. Before coming to the small river, Nawaki quickly took off his coat. A savage pierced it down, splashing countless water. This idiot scared the fish away. Shiraishi complained speechlessly and walked towards the river with his feet up. Shiraishi and little. Just as Mikoto opened his mouth to remind Shiraishi, the footsteps from the right are exposed on the water as if they were on the ground. Walking to the other half of the river easily and indifferently, Kanai, who was entwined with the silk thread, shot instantly. A plump grass carp was stabbed in the blink of an eye and plunged into the bottom of the river. As soon as the silk thread in Shiraishi's hand was pulled, the grass carp was pulled up. With a wave of Kanai, Shiraishi threw the grass carp to the shore where Mikoto was. Mikoto, I'll leave the fish to you. Shiraishi yelled at Mikoto without looking back, looking at the bottom of the river sharply. His eyes are just normal eyes, so you still have to be serious. Shiraishi-kun, you are amazing. Mikoto stared at the flowing Shiraishi with wide eyes and cried out. Alien's admiration almost burst out of her eyes. Shiraishi actually walked on water. Nawaki also stared at Shiraishi incredulously, muttering to himself. Although the 2 of them came from famous families, they still haven't learned this little skill of controlling chakra. Wouldn't you? Shiraishi looked at the two in surprise and wondered. He inherently thought that both of them should know this skill. This is no nonsense. If I know this, I still have to jump into the river? Shiraishi, I'm going to learn this later. Nawaki yelled, rolling his eyes, staring longingly at Shiraishi's feet. Walking on water, this is so cool. Well, I thought you were trying to be handsome. In the afternoon, I will arrange training for you to climb trees and tread water. Learning to control chakra can also speed up the learning progress of Rasengan. Under Nawaki's speechless expression, Shiraishi invisibly packed a batch and continued to fish. Playing cool? I don't even know who's playing tricks. I will not lose to you. Nawaki gritted his back teeth and dived quickly to catch the fish. Soon, the two caught a few more fish and returned to the shore. To say that Makoto is worthy of being a good wife at home in the future, she is not too skilled in cooking. The bento tastes good, and the grilled fish is also delicious. Let Shiraishi and Nawaki be chomping and gobbling. Because of treading water, afternoons turned into training for controlling chakra. Evening, the three left the number 7 training ground, dragging their tired bodies. After parting with Makoto, Shiraishi followed Nawaki to Senju's house. After returning home, Nawaki left Shiraishi and went to rest. Because of what happened last time, Nawaki is avoiding Tsunade now. Shiraishi big brother. As soon as Shiraishi stepped into Tsunade's courtyard, Kushina trotted up to meet him. Kushina, Ninetales didn't mess with it. Shiraishi looked at Kushina, whose face was a little pale, and asked worriedly. No. Feeling Shiraishi's concern, Kushina 307 said timidly with a blush on his pale face. Ninetales is firmly restricted by the 4-element seal and suppressed by Kushina's Uzumaki bloodline and has no ability to make trouble. Kushina is just in a hurry and has not yet changed her identity. Some fear and worry. Shiraishi, your seal is fine. Tsunade also came out of the room, looked at Shiraishi and expressed concern. The seal is fine. My master added a layer of protection to prevent Ninetales' chakra from leaking out. In this way, Ninetales' chakra cannot be used to replenish energy for the little turtle. Tsunade, I need you to help me unlock the 5-element seal. Rishur casually found a mouth to express his intention. Unlocking the seal is fine, but can you suppress Ninetales? What if? Tsunade's eyebrows froze, and after thinking about it, she's still worried. Don't worry, I've already talked to Ninetales. You undo the seal, and I'll let it talk to Ninetales in Kushina's body. Kushina doesn't have to worry about Ninetales eroding her body. Tsunade was surprised when Shiraishi said the words he had thought up. How did you make peace with Ninetales so quickly? But thinking about the future that Shiraishi said, Tsunade understood the reason why Ninetales compromised. Shiraishi big brother, you are amazing. I dare not go to that fox, but you have lived in peace with it. For some unknown reason, Kushina held Shiraishi's skirt and worshipped with little stars in her eyes. At this moment, most of the haze that Ninetales brought to Kushina dissipated. The existence of Shiraishi reassures her like a Dinghai Shingen needle. That begins. 5 elements, seal, solution. After Tsunade understood, he didn't say much and reached out to complete the operation and patted Shiraishi's abdomen. A white smoke rose from Shiraishi's abdomen, and the 5-element seals surrounding the 4 elephant seals dissipated instantly. Ribbons of pale red chakra emerged from Shiraishi, creating a gust of wind. Kushina, let's go to Ninetales together. Shiraishi reached out and grabbed Kushina's small hand and shouted confidently. Kushina looked at the hands of the two interlocking fingers. Her cheeks flushed. Chapter 57, it's over. 2 Ninetales are rolled up from the corner of Shiraishi's eyes. He glanced at Kushina's red face and smiled inwardly, controlling a little-tailed beast chakra to link to Kushina. In an instant, Shiraishi's consciousness appeared in front of Ninetales. Kushina's consciousness also emerged at the same time. There is no difference between the Ninetales and Kushina and the young Ninetales and Shiraishi, except that the hair is a bit darker. He was also bound there by the same wooden wedge, which was extremely miserable. Damn Ito, "You two little devils, come here and let the old man eat." When E9 saw Shiraishi and Kushina, the beast's eyes widened and the thunder was furious. But it only uttered half of its words, and was choked by the positive Nine-Tails voice in its ears. Almost instantly, young Nine-Tails shared all the experience Shiraishi said with E9. E9's angry, huge fox face froze immediately, revealing a frightened and unbelievably humanized expression. Makes it look funny. Half-body. Do you really believe in the future that this brat said? Human beings are cunning creatures who don't distinguish between men, women, and children. The scarlet animal eyes of E9 looked at Shiraishi suspiciously and talked with young Nine with consciousness. Old man's half-body. Did you lose something when you were divided? Heavy particle mode, but only you and I know its existence. How did that mountain city Shiraishi know, since he said he would take the old man to the future to verify the information? There's a good chance that's true. Therefore, the old man hopes that you will not try to corrode Jinchuriki for the time being. When we meet next time, you will know the truth. Then we discuss what to do in the future. Shiraishi Imp said that we will use the power of Senjutsu in the future. This may be our chance to change our destiny. Young Nine-Tails couldn't help complaining about himself, expressing his decision. As the strongest chakra individuals divided by 10 tails, they are born with the ability to condense natural energy. Natural energy is not equal to magic. So for 1,000 years, Nine-Tails didn't make use of this ability. Half-body, what are you short of? This old man has exactly the same IQ as you. The old man just analyzed from a skeptical perspective. Isn't fairy art one of the old man's strengths? By the way, do you know how natural energy transforms into fairy art? E9 responded bluntly and attacked. Young Nine froze just as he was about to retort. Indeed, it really doesn't know how to transform natural energy into fairy art. If you know this, how can you be bullied so badly by Uchiha Madara? Ahem. I will know this when I ask Shiraishi. In short, you're more stable during this time. Young Nine bit the bullet and pretended. How dare you order this, old man? Half-body, do you think you're the boss? Now we are competitors. If you are unfortunate enough to be absorbed by Uchiha Madara or another Tsutsuki, this old man is the only Nine Tails. When E9 heard young Nine order, he roared unhappily. Except for the different attributes, they are exactly the same in terms of strength. Naturally, there is no distinction between high and low. Ijit, this is what Shiraishi the Imp calls risk sharing. Half-body, maybe you were absorbed. The old man's Jinchuriki is a genius who can see the future. Maybe he's the boy, the old man said. The half of the old man, you have to be more careful. Young Nine panicked when he heard the words, but on the surface they confronted each other without showing any weakness. And why not E9? Shiraishi kid, how does natural energy transform into Senjutsu? E9 eyes flickered, and suddenly he opened his mouth and shouted at Shiraishi. The consciousness dialogue with young Nine just now seemed not short, but it was less than half a second with Shiraishi and Kushina. Looks like you talked to young Nine If you want to know that Shinju can do it, promise me not to interfere with Kushina with chakra, and protect her at all times. Shiraishi nodded knowingly and made a request by the way. Kushina, the old man agreed. E9 huge animal pupils swept across Kushina, who had a small and frightened face, and responded with a low growl. If what Shiraishi said is true, Kushina is the partner he will rely on in the future. Kushina, Nine has promised to live in peace with you. Go say hello. Its name is Kurama. Shiraishi turned to Kushina with a bright smile and encouraged him. Kushina's delicate body trembled. Looking at the huge body of Nine she was about to retreat subconsciously. But Shiraishi's encouragement made Kushina stop. Kushina looked at Nine in fear, and the battle between heaven and man was in his head. Thinking that he still had to face Nine after all, Kushina gritted his teeth and stepped forward. Nine, Kurama, hello. I'm Uzumaki Kushina. Please take care of me in the future. Suppressing the fear of Nine Kushina greeted with a trembling voice. Uzumaki Kushina, the old man approves of you for the time being. E9 Tails responded slightly disappointed, turning to look at Shiraishi. E9 Tails clearly felt Kushina's fear and guard against the tail beast. If it wasn't for Shiraishi, Kushina wouldn't have recognized it at all. Seeing E9 Tails' attitude is good. Shiraishi no longer plays tricks. The so-called celestial art is to make chakra a secret art to increase the power of the celestial chakra. Shinju chakra is a 1:1:1 balanced combination of physical energy, spiritual energy, and natural energy. As long as you, Shiraishi said this, and suddenly froze. It seems that tailed beasts have no physical energy. They are divisions of the power of the 10 tails, that is, the chakra materialization. This is so messed up. At the same time, E9 Tails and the eavesdropping Yang 9 Tails also thought of this. Immediately, the atmosphere at the scene was a bit awkward. In fact, the best way for you to use Shinju in the future is to gather natural energy for Jinchuriki. Let Jinchuriki use Sage Mode to transform into a tail beast and become a 9-tails fairy fox in disguise. Yes, it is like that. Shiraishi quickly thought of Naruto's fairy fox mode. Fue explained. Originally, I wanted 9 tails to become a fairy fox, just waiting to win. Unexpectedly, I still have to rely on myself to go around. You sure? E9 Tails looked at Shiraishi with a strange face and asked. Such a combination requires Jinchuriki's physical fitness. If Jinchuriki's physical energy is too low, the magic will be greatly reduced. If it's like this, E9 Tails looked at the timid Kushina and was surprised. Compared to Yamashiro, Shiraishi, Kushina's Uzumaki bloodline is a descendant of the famous Sage Body. And Yang 9 Tails also thought of this. The secret path is not good. Of course, this allows you to witness with your own eyes. Shiraishi said categorically without hesitation. This is Naruto's fairy fox mode. How could it be fake? Seeing Shiraishi's confidence, the 2 9 Tails believed Shiraishi's words 9 out of 9. Kurama, see you next time then. Shiraishi's goal has been achieved, so he pulls Kushina and flees directly. Now is not the time to let go of the 2 9 Tails. No matter how you say it, let them see the future. Shiraishi will not risk being backlashed by 9 Tails and trust 9 Tails easily. As cunning as a fox, it's not just talking. Outside world. Okay, Kushina 9 Tails won't bother you for a while. Next time, I'll make it your friend. After Shiraishi regained consciousness, he let go of Kushina's soft little hand and said solemnly, Tsunade is still around. Shiraishi is not stupid enough to pick up girls in front of Tsunade, so as not to lose the big because of the small. Thank you, Shiraishi big brother. Kushina felt the big hand loosened, felt a little lost in her heart, and thanked in a low voice for a moment. Fine, Tsunade, I'm going home to rest. I leave Kushina to you. Shiraishi smiled calmly and said goodbye to Tsunade. I'm already very tired from practicing today, so it's not wise to stay here between the two women. Better go home and rest. Well, sorry to trouble you. Tsunade glanced at the shy Kushina calmly, waved Shiraishi lazily away. Kushina, do you like Shiraishi? After Shiraishi's figure disappeared, Tsunade looked at the reluctant Kushina and asked suddenly. The absent-minded Kushina instantly looked like a boiled prawn, flushing from neck to face when brushed. No, nothing. Sister Tsunade is talking nonsense again. I still need to read the sealed scroll, so I'm going back to my room first. Kushina faltered and yelled and staggered back to the house. That guy is quite attractive to little girls. Tsunade looked at Kushina's back and whispered with a smile. Uzumaki Kushina did not look at the scrolls after returning to the room. Instead, lying on the bed with a slightly drunk face, thinking about the memories with Shiraishi. Humph, I don't like Shiraishi big brother. Thinking of Tsunade's teasing, Kushina blushed and muttered, Zhao's way. Close your eyes sweetly into the dream. After she falls asleep, the scarlet chakra of 9 tails burns on her body. The physical quality of the Uzumaki bloodline is so strong. It is worthy of the power of the blood that can suppress the old man. Half-body, you didn't expect me to start improving Jinchuriki's strength now. Don't be too surprised the next time we meet. Gyo grabbed his body and grinned like a fox. The other side, Shiraishi washed up and went to bed after returning home. He had been busy practicing all day, and after he fell asleep, he had a political schedule on his body. Light up a layer of reddish nine-tails chakra to begin repairing fatigue and developing cellular energy. What? This kid's body can fit the old man's chakra? Is he also a sage body? Young Nine-Tails felt Shiraishi's physical condition and couldn't help but wondered. Quack quack. Half-body, you didn't expect that my Jinchuriki aptitude is not mediocre. Just that Uzumaki girl also wants to surpass the old man's Jinchuriki? That's impossible. Cool. Young Nine-Tails murmured excitedly, increased chakra, and began to subtly improve Shiraishi's physical fitness. Shiraishi didn't expect that. After his flickering, the unanimous decision of the two Nine-Tails helped Jinchuriki grow up quickly. I don't want to be the one to be absorbed. Well, two Nine-Tails rolled up. Chapter 58 Strength Soars. Snake Immortal Orochimaru. What? Why does my chakra feel enhanced? Physical fitness seems to have improved a little. Shiraishi, who just woke up, felt the changes in his body and shouted in surprise. It didn't take a second for Shiraishi to figure out why. Nine-Tails didn't expect it to be so conscious. Thinking of this, Shiraishi's mind moved, and his consciousness came to the sealed space. Kurama, thank you for helping me recover. Now, I have something to talk to you about. I need to borrow your chakra to practice and replenish the little turtle with chakra. I know you want to ask, what is a little turtle? The little turtle is the noble phantasm that takes us to the future time travel. After I add chakra to it, I will let you see the future with your own eyes. Shiraishi went straight to the point when he came up, without a word of nonsense. Shiraishi brat, you still want the old man's chakra? I'm going to rest. Nine-Tails shrank his pupils when he heard the time-moving treasure, closed his eyes, and pretended to sleep, and said proudly. Seeing that Nine-Tails didn't refuse, Shiraishi understood. Then please, next time, help you undo those wooden wedges. Shiraishi drew a big pie for Nine-Tails and exited the consciousness space. To be honest, Mito's arrangement for Nine-Tails is not as good as 4th generation's arrangement for Naruto's Little Black House. At Naruto, Nine-Tails are at least free to move about, but here in Shiraishi and Kushina, they are firmly nailed by wooden wedges. Except that the head can move a little bit, other places are unable to move. After Shiraishi regained consciousness, he took out the little turtle shrunk in its shell. With the cooperation of Nine-Tails, Shiraishi easily mobilized the Nine-Tails chakra mixed with his own chakra to charge the turtle. This time, Shiraishi used up his chakra without any reservations. The plow, how many years can now move time? Shiraishi asked the little turtle after consuming chakra. Master Shiraishi, now the accumulated energy can be moved for 3.5 years. Do you want to move time? Plow heard Shiraishi's questioning and stuck out the head of the mechanical Cade. Master Shiraishi, you guys really a mother if you have milk. Temporarily does not move time. Shiraishi complained powerlessly, refusing to travel now. The time point for him to go is at least a few decades, and now this little energy is simply not enough. But with this, Baishur probably guessed the need for energy replenishment now. Counting now, he has replenished energy for the little turtle 3 times in total. The amount of chakra for the first time is about 0.3 calories. The second time, after the increase of the curse seal, it quickly faded about 0.4 cards. Today, I have Nine-Tails to improve my own chakra, which is almost 0.4 cards. That is, Shiraishi itself, about 0.3 calories of chakra plus Nine-Tails' unknown amount of chakra, equal to 1 year. According to this calculation, 1 day for 1 year, 1 month can go to Konoha for 61 years. But the real thing is faster. Because Shiraishi's strength will continue to grow, the amount of chakra will also be strengthened. The future is promising. Shiraishi put away the little tortoise and sighed, mobilized Nine-Tails chakra to supplement himself, and walked to the number 7 training ground. Because it consumes its own chakra, pure Nine-Tails chakra can only be used for training or fighting. Can't charge the little turtle. Training ground number 7 Shiraishi formed Madra with both hands. Nine Tails chakra exploded on the body surface, forming a light red Uzumaki. Ninja multi-shadow clone technique. With Shiraishi's loud shout, a series of white eyes raised in all directions. With Nawaki and Mikoto dumbfounded. In the blink of an eye, the number 7 training ground was filled with dense Shiraishi shadow clone. At a glance, there are at least 200 shadow clone scattered around. Everyone knows their mission, those ninjutsu that should be practiced, and those that should be proficient. Practice makes perfect as soon as possible. Let's get started, everyone, Shiraishi shouted an order to many shadow clone. Afterwards, Gyu came directly to lie down, leaning against a tree trunk and taking a nap. The memory feedback of shadow clone is amazing. Although Shiraishi has a base of mental attack immunity, he still dare not be too presumptuous. Otherwise, let alone more than 200 shadow clones, even thousands of shadow clones, he would not be under pressure. However, these 200 shadow clones are not ordinary shadow clones. They're all special versions for cultivation with at least one chakra. With a power bank of 9 tails, Shiraishi is so arrogant. When Shiraishi played badly and won, many shadow clone also started their own practice. About 100 people choose to practice Rasengan. There are a dozen or so practitioners of the Orochimaru flow body replacement technique. Other ninjutsu learned before becoming proficient. Fire style, great fireball technique. Wind style, great breakthrough. Earth style, soil substitute. Earth style, earth flow wall. This huge scene made Nawaki and Mikoto doubt life for a while. Especially Nawaki, he is just stupid. Shadow clone can still play like this? He wanted to try, but that little chakra was not enough to waste. How does this compare? How can one person compare with more than 200 people? Shiraishi chakra is so much. Mikoto's beautiful eyes were looking forward, and he covered his small mouth in surprise and knocked and looked forward. Well, not because of that thing. Hateful. I want to practice. Nawaki shouted without turning his lips and turned to the nearby woods to practice climbing trees. He doesn't want to be ashamed of staying here. Shiraishi is a 9 tails Jinchuriki thing to know. How to say Nawaki's grandma is gone. How could he not know anything? That thing, Mikoto hesitated subconsciously and then went to the big tree next to him to practice climbing. Every ninja has his own secret hole card. Although Mikoto is a little curious, there is still some ninja common sense. Well, this is the correct posture for lying down and winning. My choice was right. If only I could have such a fortune by myself in the year of the monkey. Shiraishi glanced at the many shadow clones, changed into a comfortable posture, squinted his eyes, and murmured. Today's lunch did not go to catch fish for a picnic. Because Mikoto specially prepared a bento box for the two of them, it was quite tasty. In the blink of an eye, the afternoon came. As the shadow clone disappeared into white smoke one by one, Shiraishi under the tree also received feedback from the shadow clone. After the last shadow clone disappeared, Shiraishi's eyes snapped open. Rasengan Shiraishi held up a carp, CBB, and shouted in a low voice with one move with one hand. On the right hand, the blue chakra quickly condensed into a spherical ball. It is the Rasengan that Shiraishi worked hard for. Shiraishi's eyes were fixed, and Rasengan with his right hand went straight to the big tree. Under the flying sawdust, the big tree hugged by 5 people was smashed into a big hole in an instant. The big tree that lost its support could no longer support the dense branches and leaves, and collapse started a cloud of dust and birdsong. That's it, sure enough. It's still cool to hang up. Always on and off, always cool. Shiraishi looked at his right hand in surprise and couldn't help saying, That's Rasengan. Such a terrifying power. After seeing this scene, Mikoto looked at the damaged trees with a pale face and said in shock. But at the same time, I looked at Shiraishi with even more admiration. Such a powerful Muji ninjutsu was taught to teammates for free. How broad-minded Rasengan. I must master it as soon as possible. Nawaki, who also saw the power of Rasengan, said excitedly. Last time Shiraishi's Rasengan was not as powerful as it is today. Go home. Continue tomorrow. Shiraishi turned and greeted Nawaki and Mikoto, and walked towards the village at a leisurely pace. Mikoto and Nawaki froze for a moment and followed immediately. Under the reflection of the setting sun, the three figures cast long shadows. In this way, the ordinary and warm practice routine lasted for more than a month. In the middle, Shiraishi also attended the memorial service for Uzumaki Mito. Because of Uzumaki Mito's Nine Tails Jinchuriki status, it was destined to be an extremely simple and confidential funeral. In more than a month, Shiraishi's strength has undergone earth-shaking changes. The most intuitive thing is that his basic chakra amount already has one card. Not to mention Shiraishi, even Ninetales is very surprised to be able to do this. Shiraishi's body adapts very quickly to the Ninetales chakra. Physical fitness has also made good progress. Anyway, Shiraishi and Nawaki won't lose in the sparring. Nawaki is a member of the Senju tribe of Sage Body, so his physical strength is naturally extraordinary. Of course it is without any strange force. In terms of ninjutsu, because Orochimaru is not there, Shiraishi went directly to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Because it has the three attributes of fire, wind, and earth plus shadow clone is open, Shiraishi is the lion's big mouth. I got the following ninjutsu and mastered them. Ninja Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique, Class A. Fire Style Fire Dragon Flame Bomb, Class B. Fire Style Howlong Fire Technique, Class B. Wind Style Wind Cut Technique, Class C. Wind Style Vacuum Wave, Class B. Wind Style Vacuum Sphere, Class B. Earth Style Fighting Blade, B grade. Earth Style Tulliu Cut, B grade. After more than a month of rapid progress, Shiraishi already has the strength of elite Chunin in the evaluation of Sarutobi Hiruzen. With the blessing of the spell seal, ordinary Jnin can't beat Shiraishi. If the power of Nine Tails erupts, you can roam freely below Kage level. That last sentence was added by Shiraishi himself. And in this seemingly peaceful month or so, the situation in the ninja world has also changed. Sarutobi Hiruzen, because of the confident support of second generation Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Cross Turtle, scattered the ordinary Jnin and Chunin to guard the border of the Land of Fire. Ensure a safe training environment for the elite team inside Konoha. Because of this, the sensitive ninja villages also began to increase their troops one after another. While Shiraishi and the others enjoy peace, the fighting on the border has intensified, although the decisive battle would not break out in advance. It also accelerated the progress of World War II. Also at this time, Orochimaru returns to Konoha alone. Second generation is also secretly collecting the bones and flesh of the village's strong men. Master, run, you have become a snake fairy. Shiraishi's pupils constricted, and he pointed at Orochimaru's changed face in amazement. He thinks he's made rapid progress in the past month or so. Unexpectedly, Orochimaru directly sage transformation without a word. I saw Orochimaru's black hair turn bone white, and Orochimaru tied it at the back of his head casually. Two small, silver-white sharp horns appeared on both sides of the head. The purple eyeshadow that extends from the eyes to the nose wing has turned into a deeper and bolder purple line. The whole person exudes a natural and peaceful atmosphere. Well, I didn't think of that either. Richie Cave Sage Mode is a bit more than I expected. A trace of fear flashed in Orochimaru's eyes, and he opened his mouth and sighed. In the gap between the openings, Shiraishi clearly saw that Orochimaru's teeth were flanked by sharp snake teeth. However, compared to Yakushi Kabuto's sage transformation, Orochimaru's changes are acceptable to Shiraishi. At least he didn't run around with his tail dragging. Thinking of Orochimaru like that, Shiraishi shuddered suddenly. Ugly refusal. Ugly refusal. Chapter 59 Sage Mode of Richie Cave. Target Nagato, how do you say this? Also, Master, why don't you quit Sage Mode? It's a bit ostentatious to come back like this. When Shiraishi heard Orochimaru's words, he was curious plus complained and asked, The sage mode of Richie Cave and Wetbone Forest did not mention the cultivation method in the original plot. Swagger? Orochimaru showed a trace of embarrassment on his pale face when he heard this. How could he not know about this kind of thing? But he can't turn off the current sage mode. That's why Richie Cave sage mode was a bit unexpected. Shiraishi, how much do you know about Richie Cave's sage mode? Orochimaru's snake pupil showed a green glow and asked without answering. Sage mode at Richie Cave? Shiraishi was taken aback for a moment, and then it occurred to him that he didn't seem to have mentioned the big snake pocket. Just vaguely sketched. Richie Cave sage mode, I really don't know. However, I do know a little about Mount Maiboku's sage mode. That is by perceiving natural energy, and then merging body energy, spiritual energy, and natural energy at a ratio of 1 to 1 to 1 to create Shinju chakra. When a huge fairy chakra enters the body, it will enter the so-called sage mode. After entering sage mode, the attack, defense, and perception capabilities will all be enhanced. Ninjutsu, taijutsu, illusion, the power has also doubled. I only know that Master Yakushi Kabuto, your future horseboy, completed the sage mode of Richie Cave by fusing your body. I didn't see him exit sage mode after he entered sage mode, and his appearance is a bit different from yours, Master. In addition to the 2 horns on both sides of the head, there's also a white snake dragging on the abdomen. His body was also transformed, absorbing a lot of messy things. Then the sage art of Richie Cave is very powerful. It can borrow the power of the earth. That's all I know. Shiraishi didn't hide anything from Orochimaru and told the information he knew in detail. Shiraishi feels a little sick when he thinks of Dashido merging 4 people. Yakushi Kabuto, didn't exit sage mode. White snake. Transformation. A flash of surprise flashed in Orochimaru's eyes, and he murmured thoughtfully. According to Shiraishi, the sage mode of Richie Cave is fundamentally different from the sage mode of Mount Maiboku. The sage mode of Mount Maiboku is to enter the sage mode through 3 kinds of energy-making Senjutsu chakra. Richie Cave's sage mode is to passively absorb the power of the earth through physical alienation and closeness to nature, then merge with a little natural energy plus its own chakra to create Shinju chakra. Not a balanced 1 to 1 to 1 ratio. The disadvantage of this sage mode is that the body will be altered by alienation. The advantage is that you can keep sage mode for a long time. Thinking of that white snake, Orochimaru suddenly thought of something. In the next second, a thigh-thick white snake emerged from the neck of Orochimaru's curse mark. As soon as the white snake appeared, it bit on Orochimaru's shoulder, and the natural energy in Orochimaru's body was directly sucked away. Between breaths, Orochimaru's white hair turned black, his horns disappeared, and the purple fairy lines on his eyes quickly faded away. In no time, Orochimaru's former form was restored. Master, what's going on? Shiraishi looked at this series of changes, bursting with curiosity. Thanks also for your information, Shiraishi. Do you know why the guy named Yakushi Kabuto has a white snake on his belly? That is his tool for absorbing natural energy. With the assistance of the white snake, as long as he steps on the ground to absorb the power of the ground, it will fuse with its own chakra, allowing him to maintain sage mode for a long time. In other words, just interrupt one of the steps to exit sage mode. Just now, I let the white snake absorb the natural energy from my body, so I can exit sage mode. Orochimaru explained to Shiraishi with a heavy sigh of relief. Shiraishi didn't know the principle of Richie Cave's sage mode and looked at Orochimaru with question marks in his head, a little dazed. Won't that white snake absorb natural energy and not petrify? Shiraishi asked, strangely looking at the lively white snake. As we all know, the natural energy intake body of Mount Maiboku can turn into a stone frog. Won't this is the white snake bestowed by the white snake immortal, which is to help me absorb the existence of natural energy. Without it, I would not be able to absorb natural energy. Shiraishi, Richie Cave Sage mode is not the same as Mount Maiboku. Orochimaru explained to Shiraishi with a relaxed expression, gently patted the white snake's head, signaling it to go back into the cursed seal. White snake immortal. Fight to switch sage mode? Richie Cave's sage mode is so simple and rude. Shiraishi looked enviously at the white snake that sank into Orochimaru's shoulder. Hey, master, how to practice the sage mode of Richie Cave. I want to try it too. Seeing such a convenient sage mode, Shiraishi can't bear it. Immediately opened his mouth to inquire. Practice? Richie Cave's sage mode does not require training. Orochimaru saw Shiraishi's thought at a glance, with a playful look in the corner of his eyes. No need to practice? And this good thing? Shiraishi's smile faltered, and he said in disbelief, Well, no need to practice. Just let the white snake immortal take a bite. If you survive the level of body alienation, you will learn the sage mode of Richie Cave. Seeing Shiraishi's surprised expression, Orochimaru joked seriously. Alienation? What if it doesn't work? Shiraishi froze in surprise, swallowed, and asked nervously, What do you say? Orochimaru gave Shiraishi a look you know playfully. He licked his lower lip as he spoke. Shiraishi wilted instantly with this look plus movement. Damn, this is a gamble. Hey, I still seal it with a mantra, which is quite good. Shiraishi sneered and refused without hesitation. How far did he hide from such a narrow escape? Snake Immortal is too ugly, too pervert, no dog. Shiraishi sourly opened up the secret passage for himself. Orochimaru looked at Shiraishi's expression in disbelief. Smiling twice, he took out a scroll from a ninja bag and threw it to Shiraishi. A storage scroll? What is this? Shiraishi subconsciously took the scroll, looking at Orochimaru and asking in confusion. Well, I found one more weapon. I'll do it for you. I'm going to report to teacher Sarutobi now. That's all. Orochimaru explained casually, without seeming to care, and turned to leave. Arms? Shiraishi exclaimed and immediately untied the seal above. The storage scroll is only the most basic sealing technique, and Shiraishi still knows about unsealing handprints. A puff of white smoke drifted past. A dagger with a familiar shape appeared in front of Shiraishi. 2 pillars grass pheasant's sword. Shiraishi recognized what kind of weapon it was at a glance, and grabbed the pheasant's sword ecstatically. This is no ordinary sword. It is a famous sword that can compete with Yin-Yang Dunhei Rod. The second pillar took it to fight against 6 Paths Abito and 6 Paths Madara successively. Thank you, master. I love this weapon. Shiraishi raised his head and shouted at Orochimaru's back, holding the Kusanagi sword. Orochimaru's footsteps stopped, and the corner of his mouth curled up and continued to move forward. He went out this time, but according to the memory of the middle-aged Orochimaru, he got 2 grass pheasant swords in advance. Asking for flowers. These 2 swords are not in the same place, but in 2 different countries. Next day, another day full of energy. For today's training subject, all the staff should practice knife skills. After Shiraishi routinely charged the little turtle, he stretched his waist lazily. After this period of energy replenishment, the little tortoise has the energy to move for 68 years. Shiraishi come directly to training ground number 3 to gather. As soon as he opened the door of the house, a snake appeared at Shiraishi's feet and spoke human words. After speaking, it turned into white smoke and disappeared. What are you doing? Do you want to play time travel today? Looking at the disappearing white snake, Orochimaru wondered secretly and walked quickly towards the number 3 training ground. Training ground 3, when Shiraishi came here unhurriedly, there were already many people waiting here. What's going on with you? Just as Shiraishi was about to say hello, he was confused by 2 familiar figures and stumbled. Instantly, Shiraishi's reaction caught everyone's attention. Shiraishi, do you know them? Seeing something wrong with Shiraishi, Nawaki stepped forward and asked. Shiraishi gave Nawaki a silly look. Isn't that nonsense? 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato and brother Hyuga Hizashi. How could he not know? I'll be dumbfounded, boy. Let me introduce you. This is my disciples Namikaze Minato and Hyuga Hizashi. Jiraiya naturally knew what Shiraishi was surprised at, winked and laughed. Hello, I am a disciple of Master Jiraiya. Namikaze Minato. The blonde Namikaze Minato wearing a Konoha forehead protector, introduced himself like sunshine. "Hi, I'm Hyuga Hizashi." Hyuga Hizashi, who looks exactly like his son Niji, said succinctly. "Yamashiro Shiraishi, hello." Shiraishi laughed as he looked at the two unlucky people who died young. "Yamashiro Shiraishi, do you know us?" 8-year-old Namikaze Minato still couldn't hide his troubles and said with a troubled face. In his memory, there seems to be no memory of Shiraishi, the mountain city. Of this. "Ha ha! Heard. Shiraishi laughed perfunctorily, turning his gaze to Orochimaru. "What's up with the eye questioning?" Orochimaru gave Shiraishi a look, motioning for Jiraiya to speak. "Ahem. Everyone be quiet. Today is the joint cross-country mission of Orochimaru team and Jiraiya team. For this reason, Master Hokage also arranged for Tsunade to serve as a medical assistant." "Yes, it is like that." Jiraiya pretentiously cleared his throat and issued the task. "Out of the village transnational mission." February, the casual Nawaki jumped 3 feet high in an instant, shouting excitedly. Mikoto, Minato, and Hizashi were also eager to try, but they didn't jump like Nawaki. "Nawaki, please be quiet." Tsunade went up in a panic, reprimanded with a dark face. "It's really embarrassing. There are supplies at the border. Go directly." Orochimaru ignored the noisy 2 people and ordered to everyone. "Yes." Several little ones shouted in conditioned reflex. Whoosh whoosh. A group of 8 people rushed out of Konoha as quickly as the wind and headed for the border of the Land of Fire. "Master, what's going on? Why should we go on a transnational mission?" Shiraishi deliberately stayed behind and asked beside Orochimaru. "Nagato." Orochimaru's special hoarse voice reached Shiraishi's ears, causing Shiraishi's pupils to shrink and his face to change slightly. "So quick to act?" "Thousands." Chapter 60. Mikoto opens his eyes. Uchiha's ambition, Fire Nation frontier, the dark night fell, turning this vast forest lined with trees into a ferocious place for the weak and the strong. Under the towering ancient trees and winding vines, snakes, insects, and beasts began to move. The neighing and killing of poisonous insects and beasts resounded everywhere in the forest, and many ninjas started hunting. In the dim moonlight, 8 black shadows, different in size, repeated themselves on the branches of the giant tree. "There's a rock shinobi 3-man squad ahead at 8 o'clock. According to the initial confirmation of Chakra's reaction and clothing, all 3 are Chunin. Hyuga Hizashi suddenly sounded a reminder, making the entire team stop in an instant. Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade all tacitly dodged to clear the way at the same time. "Superior." Shiraishi's eyes sharpened, and he rushed forward immediately. Nawaki, Minato, Mikoto, Hizashi followed. This is the tacit understanding they have developed along the way. With Hizashi's eyes open, the trap set by the Rock Shinobi team is a joke. Several people touched the vicinity of Rock Shinobi, Chunin all the way, and Shiraishi's hands fluttered like butterflies. Wind-style wind-cut technique. Shiraishi yelled as he completed the seal. An invisible wind blade appeared out of nowhere on the back of the Rock Shinobi team on guard. Enemy attack. The experienced Captain Chunin immediately felt the air fluctuate and bowed down. The other 2 Chunin responded immediately, but Shiraishi's wind blade is not just a decoration, but cruelly across the 2 bodies 623, an arm and half of the head flew out in an instant, 1 dead and 1 injured. Drink. Chakra, who had been prepared for a long time, exploded under Nawaki's feet and threw his fist at Captain Chunin. Whoosh whoosh. Mikoto instantly threw out kunai to cooperate with him on the side. Minato and Hizashi also confronted another disabled Chunin. Shiraishi, on the other hand, watched the 2 sides of the battlefield vigilantly and made moves at any time. If he didn't sneak kill one just now, he will face Captain Rock Shinobi Chunin. In this crisis-ridden frontier, the gorgeous ninjutsu has long been abandoned by Shiraishi and the others in battles. Only ninjutsu and taijutsu with little movement are the mainstream of fighting. After all, their purpose is to sneak into the land of rain, not to shine here. "Damn Konoha kid, I'll fight you." Rock Shinobi Chunin, who lost an arm, was unable to make a seal and finally broke out after being pressed by the door in Hizashi. Ignoring the attacks of the two, take out a few detonating symbols and it will detonate. Rasengan, Shiraishi, who had been paying attention to the fight, suddenly moved. Quick as thunder, he came to Rock Shinobi's side, rubbed the balls, and sent them to his soul. The detonating charm, held by Rock Shinobi Chunin, was violently crushed by Rasengan before it exploded, of course. Most of Chunin's body was also crushed. Rock Shinobi Chunin, who was fighting with Nawaki and Mikoto, trembled when he saw this, and his horror was beyond words. Look at human nature between life and death. Rock Shinobi Chunin turned and fled without hesitation, shuriken technique. Drink. Mikoto and Nawaki immediately stepped up their attacks to block each other. Minato and Hizashi freed up their hands, one from the left and the other from the right, to attack. Wind-style Gale Palm. Minato, who has a super high ninja quality, immediately launched Wind-style to cooperate with Mei. The speed of the shuriken, controlled by Mikoto, soared by more than one level in an instant, and it stabbed firmly into Captain Rock Shinobi's back. Holy Fist. Strange Power Fist. Hizashi and Nawaki took the opportunity to make up the knife immediately. After all, Captain Rock Shinobi is a Chunin who walked out of the battlefield where the corpse mountain and the sea of blood. Seeing that there is no way to retreat, there is a Shiraishi stalking beside him. Bloodthirsty eyes flickered, ignoring the attack of the two and rushing straight to Mikoto. He wants to find someone to go to hell with him before he dies. Mikoto, with the Uchiha family crest, is naturally the first to bear the brunt. The explosive Rock Shinobi Chunin was so fast that Nawaki and Minato could change their moves in time. Even Mikoto didn't have time to make a defensive move. Seeing the ferocious face of Rock Shinobi appear in front of his eyes, the sharp kunai is close at hand. Mikoto's pretty face froze, and the boundary between life and death and fear welled up in his heart. Court death. At the critical moment, Shiraishi's red chakra burst out instantly. The late Comer came to Mikoto's side, kicking Rock Shinobi Chunin away with Chakra's kick. At the same time, pick up Mikoto and jump onto another tree trunk. Nearly killed Mikoto, damn BD. When Nawaki reacted, he was furious instantly, and the outburst of Strange Power Fist hit the upside-down Rock Shinobi Chunin. Under the attack of huge force from both sides, Roin Chunin's visceral ribs ruptured in an instant. On Mikoto's side, the joy of surviving after the catastrophe and the fear of life and death just now. Let her eyes be scarlet, and the two black hook jades are reflected on it. One Tomo Sharingan awakening. Cooperated well, especially Shiraishi. He has the demeanor of a captain. I thought I was going to make a move. Jiraiya came out from the tree trunk next to Shiraishi and grinned. Good job, B. Orochimaru glanced at Mikoto's Sharingan and nodded to everyone. Okay, let's go. The battle here has attracted the attention of the surrounding area. Let's go to the nearest camp to rest. Tsunade urged his younger brother Nawaki with a look of approval. Shiraishi-kun, you can let me go. Only then did Mikoto come back to his senses. A blush rose on his pale face, and he reminded in a low voice. Shiraishi, who was obsessed with the girl's softness, touched his nose awkwardly and let go of Mikoto reluctantly. In other words, Shiraishi has been a monk since time travel. This is seriously derailed from his nightly singing before crossing. Really, because I am not used to it. Led by Orochimaru, the group soon came to a hidden Konoha camp. After arranging a place to rest, Shiraishi came to Orochimaru's camp. You came. Orochimaru was not surprised when he saw Shiraishi. He greeted Shiraishi and began to arrange the barrier. Master, I have made it all the way. I'm just here to ask why I moved so fast. And bring us these oil bottles. Shiraishi asked impatiently after the enchantment was completed. Now to test Uchiha Madara, which makes Shiraishi a little flustered. This is the result of discussions between me and Sarutobi-sensei. From what you've said, we're all just guessing at what's going on with Uchiha Madara. Have to find out if his Rinnegan is on, or if it has been ported to Nagato. Rest assured, these are all done secretly. If it is confirmed that Nagato has ported Rinnegan, then the real test will take place. After our analysis, Uchiha Madara 90% will not intervene as you expected. Even if it happens, me, first generation, second generation, Sarutobi teacher, Jiraiya, Tsunade, the combination of the six may not be able to defeat Uchiha Madara, who lost Rinnegan. Jiraiya has initially learned Sage Mode, and Tsunade has Ninja Art, mitotic regeneration. Our odds are great. Shiraishi, you also know our plan. Rinnegan must be in our hands if possible. Orochimaru explained with determination and confidence. Shiraishi suddenly realized, dare to love is the change after the strength expands. It is not surprising that Tsunade learned ninja art. Mitotic regeneration Shiraishi and research and development are two different things. But Jiraiya learned Sage Mode so quickly, which surprised Shiraishi a bit. It wasn't said in the original show, but at least Jiraiya didn't learn it until Sannin became famous. Is this shadow clone acceleration so cheating? Thinking of his own personal experience, Shiraishi let go of his doubts. Wait, you said first generation? Isn't second generation also here? Shiraishi asked belatedly. Materials for first generation are ready for impure world reincarnation. As long as there is an accident, second generation will bring Mr. Sarutobi to support me with one thought. A battle of this level cannot be placed in the Land of Fire. So that's it. After hearing Orochimaru's explanation again, Shiraishi had nothing to say. According to this configuration, when the old Madara comes out, it is really possible that there will be no return. Then what are we here for? Seeing Orochimaru's calm expression, Shiraishi expressed his final doubt. You? Of course, it is to experience the battlefield. Elite ninjas are not raised at home. Shiraishi, you're taking them on a border clearance mission starting tomorrow. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and I sneak into the Land of Rain to find Nagato. Orochimaru glanced at Shiraishi as a matter of course. Let me be a babysitter, Tiff.Tij. So fun, no. How could I miss such an important thing? I still know a little bit about Nagato, and I also know his appearance. I have to participate in this mission. Shiraishi said firmly, shaking his head like a rattle. Since there is a stable batch, why not go for a wave? What's the point of cleaning up those trash ninjas? Shiraishi does not have the cheat of killing people to become stronger, nor does he have the pervert hobby of killing people. What fun is killing people? You? Orochimaru looked at Shiraishi suspiciously, lost in thought. I have reached an agreement with Nine Tails to temporarily burst out the strength of Shadow. I can also join the battle at critical times. And I still have this. If it really happens, I can also take you to leave the battlefield through time and space. Shiraishi was busy expressing himself, and even took out a little turtle as his whole card. It's okay if Uchiha Madara doesn't appear, but if Shiraishi appears, I'm looking forward to Madara's old man's demeanor. I don't know if the king of dancers in his dying years can still dance on the grave. Okay, then you go with us. I'm going to arrange for Nawaki and them to go on a border patrol mission. Orochimaru hesitated for a moment and finally nodded in agreement. Shiraishi replied happily and turned back to rest. An underground space, Uchiha Madara, with gray hair and wrinkled face, sits on a stone bench and closes his eyes to meditate. Several tentacles stretched out behind him, linking to the 10 Tails body in the darkness. The old-fashioned posture has long since lost its former style. Suddenly, Uchiha Madara's eyes suddenly opened. The scarlet 3-tomo Sharingan appeared in his pupils. At the same time that Uchiha Madara opened his eyes, 2 white Zetsu clones emerged from the ground and the rock wall respectively. Nagato, are you used to Rinnegan? Uchiha Madara glanced at the 2 white Zetsu with indifferent eyes and said expressionlessly, Master Madara, your eyes are adapting very well. No problem. Yeah, I also saw a lot of people fighting outside. Yeah. Master Madara, do you know what it means to defecate and feel weak? I'm so comfortable seeing someone's pooping face. Hey, you saw that too. The 2 white Zetsu avatars yelled at each other, making this silent space lively. Uchiha Madara's scarlet Sharingan trembled, and Ridao's invisible air waves swept across the audience. The 2 white Zetsu were silent for a moment, shut their mouths, and stop talking. Go back and keep monitoring Nagato. Report any problems to me. Uchiha slowly closed his eyes and ordered indifferently. The two white Zetsu immediately scattered and fled away. Good is worthwhile for me to find this suitable boarding body after searching all over the ninja world. Next, it's time to find a suitable chess piece. The power of 6 paths, infinite Tsukuyami, ninja world piece. My general, go forward indomitable. In the empty underground space, Uchiha Madara's slightly excited voice sounded. Chapter 61, Immigrant Konoha. Grandpa Madara disagrees. Next day, under Nawaki's reluctant expression, Shiraishi followed Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade into the land of rain. Hateful. This guy Shiraishi left us again. Nawaki yelled angrily, watching the disappearing figures of several people. But he is very aware of Shiraishi's strength, and he is indeed not qualified to act together now. Go, Nawaki. We're going to go on patrol next. A look of worry flashed in Mikoto's eyes, and he urged after quickly adjusting his mentality. She is the temporary captain appointed by Orochimaru. With Hisashi rolling his eyes, the patrol task is not difficult for the 4 of them. Nawaki nodded silently, followed behind Mikoto with Minato and Hisashi. Rain Country Shiraishi and his party of 4 quickly shuttled on the rough road in the drizzle. In this country that rains year after year and has abundant water resources, rainy days are the norm. Orochimaru has re-entered Sage mode in order to avoid conflict and enhance his perception. In the Snake Sage state, Orochimaru can sense even if White Zetsu is peeping nearby. Other hidden range shinobi ninjas are lights in the night, identified by Orochimaru and sneaked around. The country of rain is just a small country, and a group of 4 soon entered the hinterland of the country of rain. The experienced Orochimaru did not directly choose to sneak into the town, but took the 3 of them to a hidden cave. As far as I know, Nagato's father is a general doctor named E. My mother is a Uzumaki who doesn't know ninjutsu, named Fuson. Fuso's hair is the standard red hair of the Uzumaki family. Nagato is a boy with dark red hair, about 4 years old now. The above is the information I know. 21 Shiraishi recalled the information in his memory and introduced in an orderly manner. Dr. Use. Uzumaki people, red hair. Does that make it easier to find a target? Orochimaru's golden vertical pupils flashed a green light, and he said hoarsely, Orochimaru, what are you going to do? Jiraiya said with a serious face, without the slightest hint of a hippie smile. After all, this time, the enemy to face could be the legendary Uchiha Madara. You can't go to them blatantly. In the humid environment of the land of rain, toads and snakes are not conspicuous. Jiraiya, Shiraishi, and the 3 of us use Summoning Mon to search for a large area. Pay attention to concealment, widen the distance, and expand the search range. Tsunade, come and watch out for us. Orochimaru subconsciously licked his lips and arranged. After entering the state of the snake fairy, because the snake nature of the snake clings becomes more and more intense. Jiraiya and Shiraishi looked at each other and nodded in agreement. Now that the search plan was decided, the 3 of them bit their fingers almost simultaneously and started to seal. Ninja summoning technique. Ninja summoning technique. The 3 of them slapped the ground with one hand at the same time and shouted in unison. Huge white smoke instantly enveloped the entire cave, and countless small snakes and toads spread in all directions. After the 3 announced their search targets, these snakes and toads came out of the cave one after another, spread out and head towards the various towns in the country of rain. Because Nagato's father is a doctor, Ian Snake preferred the city as the search target. In this era of war where smoke is everywhere and the people are in dire straits, ordinary villages do not have doctors. I'm going to enter the state of extreme perception and search for the white Zetsu clone. Tsunade, I leave this to you. Orochimaru said to Tsunade, and slowly closed his eyes. At Orochimaru's neck, the previous white color reappeared and began to assist Orochimaru in absorbing the natural energy field. Multiple shadow clone technique. Jiraiya yelled again, separated 3 shadow clones and began to perceive natural energy, preparing for possible battles that would follow. Tsunade came to the entrance of the cave to hide and wait for battle. Seeing how serious everyone is, Shiraishi couldn't help being a little nervous. Consciousness enters the sealed space to greet Nine Tails in advance and prepares to borrow a large amount of chakra. Country of Rain, a small town Fuso Nagato, I'm back. Look what good things I brought back today. Ise walked into the house with a medicine basket on his back and shouted at the room with a toy. For a year old Nagato heard his father's voice and immediately rushed out the door with his short legs staring at him. Nagato, slow down and don't fall, the red-haired mother, Fusong, said with concern with a light smile. Yeah, it's a windmill. I also have a windmill. When Nagato went out, he saw the thing in Ise's hand and shouted forward in great surprise. Ise handed over the windmill with a smile and touched Nagato's head with loving eyes. When Fusong walked out the door, he saw the father and son playing together with a happy look on their faces. Oh, do you think a windmill is fun? Should be fun. Don't you see Nagato having fun? I really want to play with windmills. How about I steal some and pay them back? But Lord Madara won't let us run around. Do you want to be killed by him? I don't know what it feels like to defecate. The 2 white Zetsu secretly observed the Nagato family, chattering in the ground. When they didn't pay attention, a small snake suddenly came out from the grass on the ground, spit out the snake letter lightly, looked at Nagato's family, and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Shiraishi here, it's already the afternoon of the 2nd day, found it. Orochimaru, who was closing his eyes to perceive, suddenly opened his eyes and said solemnly, Finally found it. Where is it? Shiraishi's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he hurriedly asked. Jiraiya and Tsunade also turned to look at Orochimaru at the same time. You guys cancel the summoning technique. Come with me. Orochimaru ordered Jiraiya and Shiraishi, turned around and ran towards the entrance of the cave. Jiraiya and Shiraishi canceled the previous summoning technique one after another, and quickly followed up with Tsunade. In the entire cave, only Jiraiya's shadow clone is left. With a clear goal, Orochimaru and the 3 soon entered the town where Nagato was located. At this moment, Orochimaru suddenly stopped walking. What's wrong? Shiraishi wondered when he saw Orochimaru stop. Finally, I got it. 2. In the basement of Nagato's house. Orochimaru explained with excitement in his eyes. Shiraishi, Jiraiya, and Tsunade all know what Orochimaru is talking about, although they don't say so. White Zetsu avatar, eyes and ears of Uchiha Madara. This also means that Nagato may have ported Rinnegan. In an instant, the moods of several people couldn't help becoming tense. Jiraiya, follow the plan. We are waiting in the dark. Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya and said in a low voice. After speaking, he pulled Shiraishi into a dilapidated courtyard to guard. Tsunade gave Jiraiya an encouraging look and followed the pass to adjust. After a few minutes, Jiraiya knocks on the door of Nagato's house. Konoha Shinobi? What are you going to do? We're just commoners and not ninjas. When Ise opened the door, he saw Jiraiya wearing Konoha's forehead protector and said tremblingly, Everyone in the Land of Rain knows that several countries are fighting at the border, and Ise is no exception. Don't be afraid, I mean no harm. I'm here to take you back to Konoha's life. Jiraiya begins to perform according to the script devised by Orochimaru. It's not really an act, it's a fact if Uchiha Madara doesn't get involved. Take us back to Konoha? For why? Ise was taken aback by this operation and asked subconsciously. But as soon as the words came out, Ise regretted it. It would be bad to PS off this Konoha shinobi, who in a ninja world doesn't know that the Land of Fire is the country with the most comfortable resources and environment. Ordinary people in every small country want to live in the Land of Fire, especially the Land of Rain that lives in the cracks. Due to geographical reasons, the Land of Rain not only rains year after year, the environment is humid and supplies are scarce. The neighboring kingdoms of Wind, Land of Earth, and Kingdom of Fire all regard the Kingdom of Rain as a battlefield to buffer conflicts. In such an environment, How could Ayase be indifferent to the olive branch thrown by Jiraiya? This is an opportunity to change the fate of him and his descendants. Why? Of course it is because of your wife and children. They are all members of the Uzumaki clan. We, Konoha, are allied with the Uzumaki clan. After the demise of Uzumaki village, he has been secretly looking for traces of the Uzumaki tribe. After getting their news, Lord Third Hokage specially sent me to pick you up to Living Day. There, you will no longer have to worry about the threat of war. Jiraiya scratched her head and explained with amplified voice. These words are actually for the white Zetsu, just to make Uchiha Madara think it was a coincidence. Master Third Hokage, thank you. Thank you, Hokage-sama, for your concern. Let's go to Konoha. When Ayase heard that it was Hokage's Order 273, he finally let go of his worries and nodded like a pounding garlic. Immediately pulled Jiraiya into the house and was about to leave the country of rain. After Fusang learned of Jiraiya's intention to come, he was excited but also a little grudged. When Uzushio village was destroyed, Konoha did not send support in time. This also made many surviving Uzumaki people choose to wander in the ninja world instead of going to Konoha. Can watch Son Nagato, an excited husband Ayase. Fusang still regressed and compromised, agreeing to live in Konoha. And at this time, Jiraiya pretended to be unintentionally joking with Nagato. Also saw the legendary eyes Rinnegan. Oops. Nagato and the others are moving to Konoha. A white Zetsu clone behind the scenes hurriedly said, I'm going to find Master Madara. You stare at them. Another white Zetsu clone reacted immediately and cast Mayfly technique to leave quickly. Even though it is underground, the speed is as fast as lightning. So fast, perception monitoring Orochimaru of white Zetsu suddenly changed his face and blurted out. His perception range was several kilometers away, but the white Zetsu avatar unexpectedly ran out of his perception range in an instant. An underground space, it's not good, Madara-sama. Konoha sent someone to pick up the Nagato family to live in Konoha village. They're already packing up. White Zetsu's voice suddenly rang in Uchiha Madara's ears. Konoha? Are they for Rinnegan? The calm and composed Uchiha Madara opened his eyes abruptly and questioned in an imposing manner. Seems not. Konoha was searching for the Uzumaki people, just a coincidence. White Zetsu's answer immediately made Uchiha Madara heave a sigh of relief. But immediately after, Uchiha Madara had a headache. Nagato enters Konoha, and Rinnegan is bound to be exposed. The advantage is that Nagato has been trained intensively and can become a very good pawn. However, there are also disadvantages. The grown Nagato may be beyond his control. The power of the Rinnegan is terrifying. Nagato is just a medium for resurrection, and his strength cannot be made too strong. This is not good for future plans. Then, take this opportunity to plunge Nagato into darkness. After hesitating for a moment, Uchiha Madara muttered to himself. Chapter 62 Nima, the king of dance, actually drives Suzuwa to chase him down. Jiraiya quickly completed the Madara with both hands, pressed down on the ground, and drank. The sealed scroll in front of his eyes emitted a suction force, pulling large and small packages into the hollow of the scroll. A black seal slowly appeared, and the storage was completed. Okay, this is all your belongings. We're going straight away now. Jiraiya put away the storage scroll and handed it to Nagato's father Ayase, saying solemnly, Next is the point. Amazing Uncle Ninja, can I become a ninja after I go to Konoha? Nagato, who was holding his mother's clothes, looked at this shocking scene and boldly asked, Big Uncle? Jiraiya's black-lined mouth twitched. He looked down at his burly body and then at the short Nagato, who retreated instantly. Nagato! When Fusang heard the ninja, his eyes changed and he reprimanded. She doesn't want her son to become a ninja. The destruction of Uzumaki village makes Fusang only want his son to grow up like an ordinary person. Unfortunately, Fuso didn't know that Nagato was born in Uzumaki. This is bound to be impossible. It's almost time. Let's go seeing this. Jiraiya didn't say much, looking at the night falling outside, and urged. Because of Nagato's age and importance, Jiraiya took Nagato on his back. Ise and Fusong also had no objections, and a group of 4 walked out of the town without incident. Orochimaru followed with Shiraishi and Tsunade, clearing the way for them. Under Shiraishi's uneasy mood, everyone walked 100 miles all the way. Could it be that Uchiha Madara really let Nagato go? Just as Shiraishi thought of this, Orochimaru's face suddenly changed in front of him. In his perception, a group of super powerful chakra rushed towards them from the ground. Chakra is so strong that even sage transformations Orochimaru can't help but click his tongue. With a reminder from Orochimaru, the figure rushed towards Jiraiya like lightning. Shiraishi and Tsunade trembled when they heard the words, knowing that the test failed. It was Uchiha Madara who came. According to the arranged plan, Shiraishi quickly appeared beside Nagato's parents. His mission is to protect the Nagato family. At the moment when Orochimaru appeared, Jiraiya put down Nagato and Orochimaru. Tsunade was not blocking the enemy. Stare where Orochimaru looks like the enemy. What's wrong? Ise looked at the tense people at a loss and asked in a trembling voice. It's okay. Your safety will be protected by me. Shiraishi gave a casual reassurance, following Orochimaru's gaze at the clearing ahead. The current Madara is only about 64 years old, younger than the age at which the Konoha collapse plan 3rd generation died. I don't know if it's the real body. Sage art inorganic reincarnation. Orochimaru's pupils suddenly changed, and his hands were sealed in seals. The land in front of everyone seemed to have life in an instant, and it turned into a thorn and attacked from all directions. It was too late to say it, and it was so fast at that time, a white shadow suddenly drilled out of the ground and went straight into the sky. Orochimaru's handprint changed, and with the help of the power of the earth, countless spiked soil spears rose from the ground at a high speed. Between lightning and flint, the dense rocky land centered on Orochimaru turned into spikes and shot straight into the sky. The clearing where Shiraishi and the others were located suddenly turned into a sharp rock forest covering several hundred meters. It is simply the earthen version of the dance of the early fern. Shiraishi looked at the densely packed sharp rocks around him, feeling horrified. Unexpectedly, Orochimaru even learned this senjutsu, reincarnation immortal art, which gives life to lifeless inorganic objects and controls them. This move is an invincible fairy art standing on the ground. Master, but the layout is small. Take control of the earth, build a few rock titans, and hammer him to death. FK him. Shiraishi looked at the majestic Orochimaru in front of him and shouted 666. This wave is indeed a stable batch. When Orochimaru heard Shiraishi shout, he couldn't help being covered with black lines around Sage Transformation's body. Do you really think this is manipulating the power of the earth at will? No chakra? Also get a few rock titans. Half of them are enough. It's just that the ordinary attack is already doing its best. Would style birth of the tree world. At this moment, Bai Ing, who rushed into the sky, clapped his hands and shouted in a low voice. At the same time as the sound fell, winding saplings rose up under Shiraishi's feet. It grew into a towering ancient tree almost in a breath, bursting the entire stone forest and strangling towards several people. Orochimaru immediately manipulated the power of the earth to compete with the trees, because everyone opened up a foothold. Hand over that child. On a bare tree trunk, Uchiha Madara, wearing the skin of white Zetsu, stared at Orochimaru coldly. He really didn't expect that Konoha still has such a powerful guy now. He was able to force out his wood style, and Orochimaru's state reminded him of his former opponent Senju Hashirama. Who are you? Why the wood style secret technique of first Hokage? Shiraishi rolled his eyes and asked the question first. Isn't it just a show? You pretend, and I pretend. It depends on who is different. Hand over that child. Do you also like Nagato's Rinnegan? This is impossible. But I am very interested in your style. Would you like to come back to Konoha with me? Orochimaru understood what Shiraishi meant in an instant, and took advantage of the situation and opened his mouth to probe. Because Rinnegan, You are no ordinary Konoha shinobi. All of this is a premeditated coincidence. Uchiha Madara glanced at the surprised Nagato, pretending to be loud and indifferent. The purpose of his trip is to plunge Nagato into darkness. Then let Nagato know Konoha's evil intentions. That's a matter of course. Yu. Because Nagato, Ise and Fusang's expressions changed, and they watched Shiraishi vigilantly and said tremblingly. The two hugged Nagato tightly, wanting to protect their son. Uchiha Madara glanced at Nagato's parents coldly and made a decision in his heart. Fire style Great Fire Extinction. Simple and quick, two handprints were formed with both hands. And Uchiha Madara opened his mouth and spit out a huge flame. Sage Art Wind style Great Breakthrough. Orochimaru changed his hands again and opened his mouth to fight with a terrifying hurricane. With a bang, the wind and fire collided in midair, turning into flames and shining in all directions. Fenghua is originally a ninjutsu that enhances each other, but in the hands of Uchiha Madara and Orochimaru, it has become an escape technique that competes with each other. Earth-style Earth Flow Wall Shiraishi saw a large group of sparks flying towards him and quickly slapped his seals on the ground and shouted. A mud flow wall carved with white snake sage rose rapidly to block Shiraishi. Well, the snake body mud flow wall is modeled after Kakashi's dog head mud flow wall. It doesn't matter whether it is strong or not. The key is not lacking in chakra. Handy, and it's over. Jiraiya next to him gave a low shout, and a shadow clone in the cave disappeared. I saw that Jiraiya's nose suddenly became bigger, and her angular face was slightly enlarged. Red eyeshadow appeared in the corner of the eyes, and the red stripes on the face became thicker and longer. The eyelids of the pupils turned into the word toad in orange. His hair is long, his chin grows a white beard, and his already burly figure is round and round. This is Jiraiya's sage mode. Now is the time for my sage, Jiraiya, to make an appearance. Sage art thousands of hair needles. After Jiraiya completed the sage transformation, he let out a howl of excitement, nodded his hands, and flicked his hair and shouted. The white hair turned into thorns and shot out in an instant, as fast as a storm. The range is so wide that it directly covers Uchiha Madara's body for more than 10 meters. It's sage art again. Could that guy do the same? Uchiha Madara ignored Jiraiya's attack and stared at Tsunade in surprise. The tree trunk under his feet rose like a gust of wind, dodging Jiraiya's needles. Orochimaru wind style. Tsunade light the fire. Jiraiya's perception ability in sage mode is also strengthened a lot, and his hands change again. The three have been partners for many years, and Orochimaru and Tsunade immediately hit the ground running. I saw Jiraiya open her mouth and spit out a lot of toad oil straight into the sky. Fire style Great Fireball Technique. Tsunade quickly completed the handprint and spit out a super great fireball at the toad oil. Sage Art Wind style Great Breakthrough. Orochimaru completes wind style again, blowing Tsunade's fire style together to toad oil. Sage Art Gomen. With a low snort, Jiraiya manipulated the burning toad oil to cover the sky and pounce on Uchiha Madara. The massive, super high temperature sea of fire is not the limit that ordinary wood can bear, and Uchiha Madara was submerged in the sea of fire in a blink of an eye. Uchiha Madara's wood style at this time is far less powerful than in the Fourth World War. Under the drizzle of the night sky, a huge sea of flames suddenly flashed and raged in the sky. The huge high temperature directly evaporated the surrounding water, causing the continuous light rain with a radius of 1 kilometer to evaporate into steam. Did you make it? Tsunade looked at the Huo Shan in the sky, opened her beautiful eyes, and said anxiously, "That's Uchiha Madara. As long as he doesn't escape, he should be dead. This is my strongest fire style attack. Although Tsunade's fire style is a little bit worse, its power is not too bad." Jiraiya stared cautiously at the void and said complacently, "I didn't see Tsunade's unhappy eyes and twitching mouth at all. This move was supposed to be a combined immortal art that summoned Fukasaku Immortal and Shima Immortal to cooperate. However, summoning those two will consume a lot of chakra, which is far less convenient than it is now. Is this a ninja? A trace of fear and longing rose on Nagato's small face, and he grabbed his parents' clothes and murmured, "Both Ayase and Fusong are stupid at this time. What did they see? Such a massive battle. It shouldn't be that simple." Shiraishi looked at the fire clouds in the sky and shouted in confusion. Quickly rewind. Just at this moment, Ninetail's anxious voice suddenly rang in Shiraishi's ears. Without any hesitation, Shiraishi turned around and grabbed Nagato and ran away. At the same time, Orochimaru and Jiraiya's expressions changed, and they took Tsunade away quickly. By the way, the two grabbed Ayase and Fuso one by one. In the next breath, after several people retreated, a blue light burst out from the sky. Two huge blue feet appeared in the battlefield. Immediately afterwards, a burly blue body with a height of about 100 meters formed while breathing, and a fist the size of a house smashed towards Orochimaru. Sage art inorganic reincarnation. Orochimaru shouted again, and a huge earth spear drilled out from the ground to block the huge fist. Several people took the opportunity to break out and try their best to distance themselves. The three of Orochimaru saw the tall Susanoo, looked at each other tacitly, bit their fingers, and began to seal. Ninja summoning technique. Ninja summoning technique. Ninja summoning technique. Before Susan's next punch came, the three of them slapped the ground and shouted at the same time. Bang, bang, bang. Three huge white smoke rises. Tall Man Snake, Bunta, and Katsuyu appear strong. Shiraishi looked back when he heard the movement. His pupils shrank. Nima, the king of dance, is actually such a shameless Bakuzuo chasing after him. Bullying the small with the big. This is, although it is not the final perfect body, it is also the fourth form with hands and feet. Seeing that Orochimaru and the others summoned the summoning beast, Shiraishi immediately urged Ninetail's chakra to escape quickly. There are gods fighting in the back. It will be funny if you accidentally get hurt. Chapter 63, I, Madara, would like to call you Konoha Sennin, Rain Shinobi Village the leader. Hanzo stood on top of the tallest building in the village, looking at the flames shining in the night sky in the distance with serious eyes. Could it be that Konoha has invaded the land of rain? Thinking of the consequences of Konoha rushing into the land of rain, Hanzo's expression changed under his mask, and he wanted to send someone to check. But at this moment, Hanzo's pupils shrank suddenly. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and his hands and feet were cold. As far as the eye could see, a blue tall Minos Grande shadow appeared in front of Hanzo's eyes. Although it doesn't look very big, Hanzo is at least 100 miles away from there. This is an ordinary physical eye, not a blind eye or a Sharingan eye. That is Susanoo of Uchiha. Hanzo's eyes widened, and he confirmed with a trembling voice full of bloodshot and fear. Susanoo, this is the Sharingan technique used by Uchiha Madara. The reason why Hanzo is called a demigod is whether there is any water in it. The root of it is because there is a ninja god in the ninja world, Senju Hashirama, and the only ninja who is as famous as first Hokage Senju Hashirama is Uchiha Madara. This has already been heard in Hanzo's childhood. Hoo. No matter who you are, I am no longer the kid I was. Rain Shinobi Village, inviolable. Hanzo took a few deep breaths to adjust his mentality. His eyes were exposed, and he said in a low voice, "Grab the sickle weapon next to you and jump off the high platform." This side Uchiha Madara was in the middle of the Susan, looking sideways at the three tall summoning beasts in front of her. In terms of size, these three summoning beasts are only slightly inferior to his Susan. Although there is a gap between the fourth form and the perfect body, the strength of the three is already very rare in the ninja world. That is what? Jiraiya, why did you ask me to do such a troublesome thing? Looking at the tall and burly Susanoo, Mrs. Wen said with fear in her mouth. Don't say that. Mrs. We are partners. Jiraiya looked at white Zetsudara in Susanoo vigilantly and said Japan seriously. Damn Orochimaru, looking for me again. You finished sage mode. The cold snake pupils glanced at Susan. The eyeballs rolled 707 and were about to get angry when he was shocked by Orochimaru's appearance. "One snake, if you don't want to die, be honest with me in the future." Orochimaru's indifferent voice sounded in Wan Shi's ears, which quite shocked Wan Shi. Orochimaru of the Snake Immortal is not to be trifled with. Regardless of strength or power, Wan Snake does not want to be killed by Orochimaru or swallowed by the White Snake Immortal. "Master Orochimaru, I have something to tell you from now on." Under Wen Tai's contemptuous gaze, Wan Shi confessed in a very bachelor way. "Katsu, take them both to Shiraishi." Standing on top of Katsuyu's head, Tsunade commanded with tense limbs and a pretty face. Nagato's parents are now with Tsunade. "Okay, Master Tsunade." The mild-mannered Katsuyu responded with a soft voice, like a child's bell. Ise and Fusong's feet suddenly softened, and they fell into Katsumoto in panic. In a blink of an eye, two little Katsuyu split out from under Katsuyu's feet, dashed toward Shiraishi at super-fast speed. Tsunade glanced at Orochimaru and Jiraiya of Sage Transformation, feeling a little disappointed. "Ninja art. Mitotic regeneration is a life-threatening forbidden technique after all, and it is resolute not to use it until the last moment. In other words, she is currently the weakest among the three." At this moment, Tsunade made up his mind to learn Sage Mode this time. "Do it." Orochimaru sensed that Katsuyu was taking Nagato's parents away, and made him a draw with both hands with a low shout. Wan Snake, who was ready to go, touched the ground with his tail and rushed towards Susan like lightning. "Wen Tai, Katsu." Jiraiya and Tsunade also shouted and ordered Bunta Katsuyu to join the battle. Wen Tai jumped on all fours, jumped into the air, drew out a long knife, and slashed at Suzu's head. Acidic tongue and teeth. Katsuyu quickly swam up to Susan, and highly corrosive acid sprayed out from his mouth, covering both of Susan's legs. At the same time, 10,000 snakes were also wrapped around Susan's waist, and the power of strangling was activated. The ferocious snake bites on Susan's arm. Wen Tai's long knife cut across the sky and landed firmly, Sea Beast J, on the top of Susanoo's head. The cooperation of the three summoning beasts can be called a textbook style, sum of top, middle, and bottom. Sage Art Wind Style Vacuum Sword. Orochimaru's long-prepared Sage Art aimed at White Zetsu Madara and charged up firmly. An invisible, huge wind blade collided violently with Susanoo's body surface. But this level of attack only made Susanoo fluctuate a little, but didn't break Susanoo. Sage Art Big Ball Rasengan. Just then, Jiraiya reached out with the ball and bumped into where Orochimaru hit. Between breaths, the rock-solid Susan persisted for only half a second before being smashed to pieces by Big Ball Rasengan. The broken hole instantly triggered a domino effect. Whether it's the legs corroded by Kato, the waist strangled by thousands of snakes, or the head chopped off by Bunta. Fear is broken in an instant. Seeing the opportunity, Tsunade counted on Katsuyu's head like a swift, and all of Chakra's strange power exploded. Tong Tian feet. Tsunade gave a coquettish cry and kicked behind White Zetsu Madara with a kick as light as a feather and as heavy as Mount Tai. With a bang, White Zetsu Madara's body flew upside down like paper for hundreds of meters, falling into the sticky and wet ground. Life and death are unknown. "Did you kill it?" Tsunade rushed to the top of Wancha's head and asked with shortness of breath. In the blow just now, Tsunade exploded all chakra. "Have no idea. I can't feel his breath anymore. However, with his strength, he shouldn't be defeated so easily." Orochimaru stared solemnly at the land and said cautiously, "Then make another cut." XX. Hearing Orochimaru's fear, Jiraiya yelled at Bunta with his hand seal. When Tai didn't talk nonsense, the Emperor's toad oil spewed out from the stomach. Sage Art Fire Style, Toad, Oil Flame Bullet. Jiraiya yelled Fire Style after completing the knuckle. In front of Wen Tai, a 1,000-meter-wide sea of flames resounded. Sage Art Wind Style Stormblade. Seeing this, Orochimaru narrowed his eyes, followed by Yuin, and shouted, I saw small tornadoes of wind blades suddenly rising from the sea of flames in front of me, dancing wildly in the sea of flames. I go now, Sannin. Hanzo has to kneel down and call Dad when he sees him. Will he still be able to laugh in the future? Shiraishi looked at the ferocious storm dance and couldn't help talking. Suddenly, the super powerful chakra erupts from the sea of flames. The entire sea of fire and wind blade was blown in all directions by the super powerful chakra. Let the surrounding miles turn into a sea of flames and illuminate the world. Shiraishi quickly pulled the Nagato family to hide behind Katsuyu's avatar, ready to run away at any time. He can explode 9 tails in a battle, but it is not a last resort. Shiraishi is not that strong yet. Under the shocked eyes of the 3 of Orochimaru, in the sea of flames, 2 golden rays of light appeared, followed by a bunch of blue lights that soared into the sky. The huge blue Susanoo took shape quickly between breaths. This time, Susan has a set of mighty Hokage's blue armor on his body. On both sides of Susan's waist, there are 2 exaggerated chakra swords. Behind him is a pair of lifelike chakra wings, carried behind his back. Under the wings, there are also a pair of arms formed, each holding a big knife. The soaring height and figure went straight to the sky again, at least about 150 meters by visual estimation. And the white Zetsu Madara just now appeared in the blue crystal on Susan's forehead. Overlooking the Orochimaru 3 with arms folded. Complete body Susanoo here. This is the power of God. Hanzo, who rushed, oversaw the erupting complete body from a distance. Susanoo stiffened and trembled in panic. Full body Susanoo, but the nightmare of every ninja village. Behind him, the ranged shinobi team fell to the ground with unbearable faces and was too frightened to stand up. Is this your true strength? The 3 of us have been tricked by you. Orochimaru smiled wryly with cold sweat on his forehead. Thanks to him, he thought that a combination of the 3 might defeat Uchiha Madara. This is why the 1st generation, 2nd generation, and 3rd generation have not been called for a long time. Jiraiya and Tsunade also understood why Susan didn't resist before coming over and was underestimated. Damn fairy! Jiraiya yelled in displeasure and was about to seal the seal, but the magic chakra in her body was exhausted, and she was forced to exit sage mode. When an adult and a child play games, they will take it seriously. Just now, I just wanted to see the potential of the 3 of you. The boring game is over. In return for your pleasure, I will report your names. You are qualified to let me know your name. Uchiha Madara glanced at the 3 of them with lonely eyes, and his rich voice resounded all around. You game? We're working so hard. You think it's a game? Are you kidding me? Jiraiya, who felt being slighted, yelled angrily and was about to cancel Shadow Clone and enter Sage mode. Tsunade, who was also upset, was just about to meet, but suddenly received a hint from Orochimaru to delay time, and his pretty face changed. But they seem to have no name now. I am Tsunade, one of the Konoha Sannin. Tsunade, who was in a hurry to go to the doctor, suddenly thought of something and pretended to be indignant. I'm Orochimaru, one of the Konoha Sannin. Orochimaru, who secretly summoned the 2nd generation, then yelled loudly. I am Jiraiya, one of the Konoha Sannin. Jiraiya belatedly came to her senses, burst out, chakra shouted. Well, XERA. Well, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade. I approve of you. Madara would like to call you Konoha Sannin. With this name you have desperately exchanged for. Die here. Uchiha Madara shouted with a fierce look in his eyes, and the white Zetsu hood on his head fell apart as he spoke. Show that old and Haki face. A pair of scarlet Goyu Sharingan emits scarlet bright red light. You Uchiha Madara. Although they already knew the inside story, the 3 of them still looked at the elderly Madara in horror and said in shock. This is their true sense of what Shiraishi says about the future. Uchiha Madara, it's him. Those 3 young men were able to force out Uchiha Madara's divine power. Konoha's strength is indeed terrifying. Hanzo, who was watching from a distance, was also shocked when he heard Uchiha Madara's name, and he was even more afraid of Konoha's strength. But thinking of these three extremely talented young men today, people are about to perish. Hanzo is terrified, but rejoicing 8-foot Kion Goyu. Uchiha Madara shook his head boredly and launched a final attack with a wave of his hand. Surrounded by several hook jades formed by the blue chakra, the huge hook jade ring rushed towards Orochimaru and the others like a meteor blast with the momentum of Mount Tai. One Snake, Bunta, and Katsuyu are ready for battle. Seeing this, Jiraiya hurriedly unlocked a shadow clone and instantly entered Sage mode. As soon as Tsunade gritted his teeth, ninja art, mitotic regeneration was activated directly. At this critical moment, two figures appeared in front of the three of them. Flying Thunder God turned. With the sound of second generation, the 8-foot Kion Goyu who was close at hand disappeared in an instant. Thanks for your hard work. Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at the three disciples and looked at Uchiha Madara sharply. Uchiha Madara is actually alive. The shock of second generation is not much smaller than that of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Uchiha Madara actually started with 3 Tomo Sharingan to fully embody Susanoo. The information contained in this is simply terrifying. Flying Thunder God? Senju Tobarama. Impure World Reincarnation. Uchiha Madara's pupils shrank in surprise when he saw the second generation in a filthy body. Things are a little unexpected. As for third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Uchiha Madara didn't pay attention at all. Chapter 64 failed in dirty soil. Traveling to the first generation period, reinforcements are finally here. I almost played it off. Let's come to watch the fun and lie down to play with the wind. Dogs don't want risky things like turning the tables against the wind. Shiraishi looked at the second generation and third generation that suddenly appeared, let go of his worries, and whispered. Shiraishi, that guy Uchiha Madara showed up? Ninetail's rough voice rang in Shiraishi's head again. Ninetails can't see through Shiraishi's eyes right now. Before only sensing the chakra erupting from Uchiha Madara, he made a sound reminding Shiraishi to retreat. Well, the old man Madara appeared. Don't talk for a while, and disturb me watching the show. Shiraishi looked expectantly at the battlefield ahead and casually dismissed Ninetails. Here's a great matchup. Dirty first generation, dirty second generation, third generation, future fourth generation Orochimaru, original scenario fifth generation Tsunade, hero Rishi Jiraiya. Konoha's peak combat power bullies the lonely old man, Uchiha Madara. How could Shiraishi not be excited by this scene? With the little turtle in hand, they can do whatever they want. This is why Shiraishi did not reject Orochimaru and the others. If there is no little turtle, Shiraishi will definitely convince Orochimaru, Gon Yin to be safe first. Uchiha Madara. UBD is really alive. Second generation raised his head sharply to look at the elderly Madara with his head exposed, and said with killing intent. Although the second generation already knew the truth about Uchiha and Senju and Uchiha Madara's dream. But the grievances accumulated for many years are not so easy to let go. Thank you for this. I figured out a long time ago you won't give up studying my body. That's why I was given the chance to escape the golden cicada's shell. Senju Tobarama, do you think the current you plus a few of them can stop me? Regardless of whether you intend to or not. Today, everyone has to die here. Uchiha Madara looked down at several people, bursting out with overwhelming killing intent. For the Rinnegan's secret, these people must die. Big words. Orochimaru, you go and summon Big Brother. Sarutobi Jiraiya, Tsunade, let's go. Second generation snorted coldly with disdain, his sarcastic and star-eyed face full of sarcasm. Water-style water severing wave. While speaking, second generation quickly completed the seal, opened its mouth and spit out a jet of water straight to Uchiha Madara inside the crystal. Water-severing wave is an advanced attack water style developed by second generation. The ultra-high pressure water jet spit out rapidly, and its sharpness is comparable to a high-pressure water knife. The destructive power is so strong that even the roots of the sacred tree can be easily cut off. Uchiha Madara's tricks against second generation are very familiar, and a huge chakra sword flashed up. The wind pressure caused by the huge attack broke out like a Category 8 hurricane. But second generation's water style is not an ordinary product after all. It actually blocked the tens of meters long chakra knife steadily. The two stalemate in midair. Oomph, you can block a knife. What about those two? Uchiha Madara snorted coldly, and the chakra sword in the other hand also slashed over. Sage Art Massive Rasengan. Chakra exploded under Jiraiya's feet, and Chakra used all the magic skills.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.